Well, I hope you've enjoyed our pregame look at the battle for the belt tonight. I'm Paul Daugherty. Enjoy the kickoff tonight. Chris and Jay will be right back with you to get you started as we get into the 86th battle for the belt. Enjoy the game.
More than 7.
With the dawning of a new season come new challenges and new expectations. But in North Carolina's fiercest rivalry, the expectations remain the same: claim the victory belt. This evening, the eyes of the Carolinas are focused on Concord, where the Spiders welcome the A.L. Brown Wonders in the 87th meeting of these storied rivals. And welcome to Concord, North Carolina. I'm Chris Edwards, alongside Jason Halter. Delighted to have you with us. Jay, we'll start our conversation with A.L. Brown. For the Wonders, they have to replace 93% of their offense from a season ago. Man, I tell you what, they've got playmakers all over the field, especially on defense, with 9 starters back from a defense that gave up just 16 points a game a year ago.
Well, you hear about all that production, and I'd be concerned also, but listen, they've got a great defense, and that's where they're going to have to rely on that defensive speed and their experience to really carry this team through. But Coach Newsom's got a lot of confidence in his offense that they can step up.
One of the leaders of that defense for A.L. Brown is Sherrod Sutton. He led the team in interceptions last year. Don't let that fool you. The linebacker is all over the field.
Well, Chris, let me tell you, he's got all the tools. He can get in coverage. He's very rangy with his interceptions. He's a ball hawk, but also he can come off the edge on a blitz. He's a great in run stuffing.
For Concord, the Spiders having to replace 5 guys that had a combined total of 20 years of varsity experience last year. But man, they've got so many playmakers back, like P.J. Hall, the running back, over 1,000 yards rushing last year.
Well, Coach Padgett doesn't have that experience to lean on, and that's something that he talked about, finding other leaders to step up. But listen, he's also got something else in his back pocket, and that's the explosiveness on his offense with those playmakers. He's got a couple guys that once they touch the ball, they can take it the distance.
One of the explosive guys is Hamson Nassel-Nardine, just committed to South Carolina on Tuesday, led the team in interceptions last year defensively, but had over 500 receiving yards last season as well.
One of the most athletic players you'll see this season, and he's great on offense and defense. He plays basketball as well. He's super athletic, but on the football field, he's got a nose for the ball.
Should be a great night for football at Robert C. Bailey Stadium. Kickoff is next on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel.
Number 2, Stephen Howie was defending on the play. It'll be 4th and 12 from the 17. Landon Trot, number 8, lines up in confirmation for the Spiders. Being received for the Wonders. Number 6, Brandon Droy. Kick is down by number 19, Justin Nicholson. Ball placed down at the 45-yard line. 28-yard punt. By Landon Trot. It'll be 1st and 10 Wonders from the Spider 45.
Left to right. Left to right.
Mr. Little. In the event that we score, we can't run the flag.
Timeout is given to the Wonders.
Everybody keep this in the flag.
We'd like to offer very special thanks to the Concord Police Department, the women and men of the Concord Police Department provide constant support not only to Concord High School but also to the Grants County School System. And we'd like to say thanks. Let's give the Concord Police Department a round of applause for all they do in the school and Concord community. Number 2, Hanson Nazarene, and number 4, Rocco DeSouza, combined to make the stop. Picked up for 3 yards on the play, will move the ball down to the 33-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Wonders. And Chase Butler out of bounds. Loss on the play, 19-41. It'll be an 8-yard loss and a bring up 2nd down, 18 from the 41. Joe Coleman and 19 Justin Nicholson combined to make the stop. We'll call it a hard-earned 7-yard gain on the play by Muhammad. It'll bring up 3rd and 11 from the 34. That is Jaquarius Moss, number 19, Justin Nicholson, and number 25, L.J. Curry combined to make the stop. Pick up on the play, moves the ball down to the 15-yard line. That'll be an 8-yard gain. It'll be 2nd down and 2. Jahia Muhammad gets the ball down inside the Spider 10 for 2 hands and after they made the stop on the play. Pick up on the play of 6 yards, moves the ball down to the 9-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal from the 9. Gets the ball down near the 5. Happy Nazarene, number 2, made the stop on the play. We'll gain. It'll be 2nd and goal from the 5. Touchdown for the Wanderers. Number 29, Brian Gutierrez will be attempting the extra point. Kevin Jacobs providing the hole. The kick is good. And around 7 back to the Kicking off for the Wonders will be number 29, Brian Gutierrez. Deep proceed for the Spiders, number 5, B.J. Hall, number 18, Jaylen Martin, and number 19, Justin Nicholson.
check, 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 check. One, two, three, four, check.
The ball goes out of bounds.
To Concord and A.O. Brown, the battle for the bell. We apologize. Hello.
And here with the score leads 7-0 for the Wonders. This is a situation here where Concord needs to find a way to get a drive going and get some rhythm back in this game on their home field.
We apologize for our technical difficulties tonight. It's opening night for us too. 7-0. A.O. Brown has the lead. Concord has the football after the second penalty of the night on the Spiders. Back them up to the 35-yard line. Chris Edwards, Jay Sonhalter with you. And it'll be going back to work on offense. It's Concord and nothing doing that time in the backfield. What a job by this Wonder defense, swarming under the running back Antonio Campbell, who rushed for just 88 yards a season ago, and now the Spiders way behind the chains again.
And the Wonder stepping up as advertised on defense. That's where Coach Newsom, Chris, had his confidence that he could rely on those guys. And those guys up in the trenches where they're new, there's a lot of newcomers, inexperienced. They're winning that side of the ball, getting pushed and letting the linebackers, guys like Howley and Sutton, run up and make the tackles in the holes.
Lancaster working from the shotgun. It's 7-0 A.O. Brown on a touchdown pass from Cordairis Butler to Lewis Harris. Little flip pass to the outside. P.J. Hall makes the grab, and it's spun down at the 35. So they get the lost yardage back, and it'll bring up 3rd down and 10. Again, it's this Wonder defense that swarms to the football.
Well, and you got to swarm in a pack, especially against someone like Hall, who's so elusive, especially on the outside when he catches the ball. They've got to continue to run to him. And here, just a little swing pass, a high completion percentage type of pass. You got to get it to your playmakers, let them make something happen. Gets about 5 yards after the catch. So good job, but still here, 3rd and long situation for a young quarterback here.
3rd and 10, under 4 minutes to go in the quarter. Pressure, flipped out, caught by Hall. Hall making a couple guys miss, and has a 1st down to the 46-yard line. Elijah Hall, the defensive end, finally drug him down, but maybe that's the spark this Concord offense needed.
Well, outstanding play call here with the screen. Everyone flowing to the right, and then the screen back to the left. Then Hall following his blockers. Great job being patient, running up the sideline, and getting an explosive play on 3rd down. That's what you need, are those type of plays to get your offense going, to build confidence. Now, getting near midfield here, Conference got a drive going.
Icahn Hall, the sophomore, with the catch. Handoff goes around the right side, and not much doing as the carry went to L.J. Curry. He stopped for a loss on the play.
Well, Chris, with this defensive speed, if you're Concord, you've got to have some misdirection plays to get this defense flowing one way, then get them moving in another direction, because they're just too fast. Look at this. There's 3 guys running to the football, and you see the speed. They're swarming like a pack of lions.
A pack of lions. I've never seen a pack of lions swarm.
Bunch of cheetahs. I like to use animal references, you know. I feel like there's a lot of animals out there that are fast and quick, just like these football players.
You're just an animal, aren't you?
I am.
5 receivers to the bottom of your screen. Interesting formation. Lancaster will keep it, and he's not going to get away from the big safety, Aquarius Baldwin, the 5'10 junior, who played just 2 games a season ago, Jay, but makes a huge play right here for Kannapolis Brown.
Well, we talk about explosive plays on offense. How about on the defensive side? Look at everybody running around again here. The huge loss. This sets up 3rd and a mile, again, with a team that's not that confident in their passing game yet so far. You know, you're putting Concord in a tough situation here, and you've got to find either a trick play or something to try to pick up this 1st down.
Loss of 5 there brings up 3rd down and 20 as we are under 2 minutes for the opening quarter in the battle for the bell. A.O. Brown won the bell back from Concord last year with a 26-15 victory, and now Concord going to call their first timeout. Each side has 1 timeout left for the remaining part of the first half. Jay, take us inside the huddles. We'll start with Concord. You had something going offensively, but now a couple of penalties and some backwards runs have thwarted things a little bit.
Well, yeah, if you're Concord and their coaching staff, the biggest thing is don't create any turnovers. Don't put your team in a position where they're throwing the ball downfield into dangerous situations. If I'm Concord, I want to have a very conservative play call here, possibly a screen or getting the ball to Nazrul Nardine in a running situation. See if you can have something explosive come about here on third down. And if you don't get it, then play the field position game and punt the ball. If you're A.L. Brown here, you're telling your guys, hey, keep everything in front of you. Don't give up the big play, because the big play is the only thing that can hurt you. You want to get your defense off the field here and get the ball back to your offense.
Again, we apologize for technical difficulties earlier tonight, but glad you've stuck with us on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. 1:49 to go, first quarter. Timeout is over. And check that 5 wide for Concord again. Play fake, flips one deep downfield. Nazrul Nardine bobbles, makes the catch, still on his feet. First down and more for the Spiders.
Well, we see Concord sideline getting excited, and that's exactly what Concord wanted. Their playmaker, Nazrul Dean, making the big play. And A.L. Brown had a nightmare happen here, giving up this huge play, leaving Nazrul Dean uncovered there, and he's just too athletic and too big. He's like a Terrell Owens type in the high school game, able to jump up and catch the ball, but also powerful when he runs.
So we told you in the open, is already committed to South Carolina. Over 20 Division I offers for the sensational 6'5" senior. And now Concord will have to burn their second timeout of this drive. They only have one timeout left for the remaining first half. But going back to Nazrul Nardine for just a second, Jay, 6'5", as you imagine, would play basketball. Pretty good basketball player. 14 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 blocks a game on the hardwood last winter.
Yeah, we've seen basketball highlights for him, and Chris, he was dunking on dudes, and it wasn't like just standing there dunking. He was flying halfway from the lane, going in there fearless on the basketball court, and you can see how that translates over to his football game, because athleticism, but also balance. And that balance that you have to have in basketball with your cuts and your jump shot and your boxing out translates over to the football field when you're a wide receiver, being able to go up and pinpoint the football. We saw it on that last play. He's the guy, if you're Concord, you've got to get the football to him as much as possible.
It's a Concord team that's picked by several publications to win the South Piedmont Conference again this year. They've won 3 straight conference titles, looking for their 4th, and to go deeper into that number is Glenn Pageant, their head coach, calling out some instructions. They've actually won 26 consecutive conference games. This, of course, not a conference game this year, will be next year, but that's the longest active streak in the South Piedmont Conference, usurping South Rowan, who won 25 straight back in the early 80s. First and 10, P.J. Hall, bouncing it outside, looking for a lane, and gets about 3 yards, and we'll bring up second down and long.
Well, and Chris, you talk about adversity and A.L. Brown going down and scoring for Concord. They have pressure on them on this drive to respond, and here they're doing a great job of responding. And look at the blocking up front, getting a hat on a hat, getting positive yards here. They've got to highlight Hall and Nazrul Dean, trying to get them the ball, because those 2 guys are game changers for them on offense.
Good look there at Sherrod Sutton, who has been an impact player on defense. We highlighted him in the open, and now the flag from our back judge was not a delay of game, as the play clock was down about 7, but I would imagine perhaps an illegal substitution here.
Yeah, I think that may have been what it is. Chris, how did you know?
I don't know.
You've been up in the rule
No,
books.
it's a procedure penalty. I was wrong. I'm 0 for 1.
Well, it was a penalty, so that's something. That's the 3rd penalty so far in this game.
It is, yes.
So that's something we'll have to keep a track of, because last year's game was a total penalty show. Just way too many on both sides of the ball. I think both coaches agree that that's something, just for even the flow of this game, they wanted to clean up this year.
You said that, I didn't. Second down and 13. Final 10 seconds of this opening quarter. A.O. Brown leading by 7. To pass, Lancaster, screen, It's caught by Hall, a shoestring grab, gets the penalty yards back plus a little bit more, and that'll take us to the end of the first quarter. A.L. Brown scored late in the quarter and takes a 7-0 lead to the second stanza as we end the opening quarter. This is Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. Back at Robert C. Bailey Stadium, start of the second quarter. Beautiful night for football as the rain that we had earlier has passed. Second down, check that third down coming up for Concord. Lancaster to the outside, nearly intercepted as he was looking for Icam Hall, who had the big reception earlier in the first half. Couldn't bring that one in. And now decision time, Jay, for Coach Pageant. It'll be 4th and 6 as Sincere Allison provided the coverage. What do you do here from the 29-yard line?
Well, I think this is too far for a field goal, so I think you've just got to be aggressive if you're Coach Pageant. Go for it here, and hopefully you can convert. If not, then the ball's going to be on the 29-yard line, so the field position game is still going to be in your favor.
Would you maybe throw one to the end zone here? Because even if they pick it off, they're backed up deep.
Well, if I was the quarterback and I was the coaching staff, I'd throw the ball to number 2 all day long, throw it up to him, and try to make it a jump ball situation where Nazrul Dean can go up and pinpoint the ball and come down with it.
And a flag, that'll be a delay of game penalty. So Concord will be penalized for the third time tonight. Already 20 penalty yards against the Spiders in the first, 13 minutes, 12 and a half minutes of the game. So now that you're back into the 34, do you think about trying to punt here, maybe coffin corner A.L. Brown?
Well, I think now here, you probably should punt the ball, but again, if you don't convert here, the ball's going to be on the 34-yard line. So I think in this type of game, the first game of the year, you want to try to set the tone for the season and be aggressive. And again, when you have a weapon like Hall and Nazrul Dean, you've got a chance here, even though it's 4th and 12, to convert here because you've got explosive and tall playmakers on the outside.
4 wide receivers for the Spiders. Pump fake. Lancaster flushed. Flips it down. Naslin Ardine's got it. And he dropped it at the end zone. Incomplete. A.L. Brown picking it up and running back. But they say an incomplete pass. Naslin Ardine, Jay, as wide open as you can be, just dropped it.
Well, outstanding play calls, a stop and go right here. Nazrul Dean shook all the defenders on a 7-yard stop. Then he turned around and went towards the end zone. The only thing, they're just keeping his eyes off the balls. In that situation, it's hard because you're seeing that ball and you know it's going to be an easy catch. Sometime you move your eyes, get ready to run towards the end zone. You've always got to catch the ball first, and a missed opportunity for Concord.
From the 34-yard line, the Wonders take over, leading 7-0. Cordarius Butler, who engineered the touchdown drive last time, will keep it here. And P.J. Hall there to bring him down. You can see Hall there, Jay, fighting for the football, trying to jar it loose from Cordarius Butler.
Well, and that's a sign of a good defense. It's not just making the tackle, it's going for the football. And you see so many college and pro teams, when they're practicing, their coaches harp on going for the football. That's the name of the game, is creating turnovers. And there, Hall trying to strip the ball. Good job by him going after and trying to make something happen on defense.
Hall only had 2 tackles all of last year, but was an all-conference linebacker 2 seasons ago, showing the ability to go both ways. A little quick out for A.L. Brown, and not a whole lot of doing there, as the pass was hauled in by Shamir Scott, his first catch of the season, and that'll bring up third down for the Wonders.
Stop the potential gain.
D'Souza in there to make the stop, the strong safety for this Concord defense that has now gone back to a 4-2-5 look as Mike Newsom, the head coach, calling the plays for the Wonders. I want to get back to the defensive thought here after this third down play. Good crowd, as you might imagine, here at Richard C. Bailey tonight. Pitch, right side. Maharta has it and fights ahead to the 39. Will be short of the first down. Both teams running that 4-2-5. Obviously, we've seen that A.O. Brown's offense predicated on being able to run the football. So who does this 4-2-5 defense that both teams are running, who does that favor more offensively?
Well, I think really if you're running a 4-2-5, the strength of the 4-2 is the speed because you have 2 linebackers and 5 defensive backs. The downside is you're going to have a smaller guy out on the field. So if you can run the ball, you're going to be going against one blocker that's smaller than or one defender that's smaller than your blocker. So really both teams have an advantage in the run game.
Icahn Hall fumbled the football, loose inside the 40. And we'll see who has it. Looks like Concord recovered.
Recovered by the Spiders.
Almost disastrous there for the Spiders.
Well, and you just got to jump on the ball, but protecting the football is the #1 key, again, in any game, but especially the first game of the year. You've got to hold on the ball, protect it, and turnovers are going to be a huge key in this ball game.
Spiders take over, Jay, 1st and 10 from the 36.5. Larkin Lancaster back out. The sophomore quarterback was 0 for 2 passing a season ago. You want to know how storied this rivalry is and this Concord program is? This is the 101st year of football for Concord and the 50th year at Richard C. Bailey Stadium. P.J. Hogg straight up the gut to the 40-yard line. Gains about 3 that time.
There's a handout from Larkin Lancaster. Advances the ball up near the 40. Number 59, Khalil Tate. And 91, C.C. Hunt.
One here, Chris. Another situation, another drive here, getting positive yards on first down. But I would get the ball to Nazrul Dean as much as possible, and even if you don't get the ball to him, use him as a decoy, whether that's coming around on reverses or trying to get the coverage to shift his way, because he's the one guy that the wonders I kept an eye on all offseason preparing for this game.
He was open, but they go with the screen to Hall, who has the first down and more. Down the sideline. It's a foot race. Spiders to within a point. No flags, 60 yards, 1-point game.
Well, Chris, we talked about it in the open. Explosive plays, something that Coach Padgett could depend on this year with a couple of his guys in Hall and Nazrul Dean coming back, even though they lost some great leadership and experience off of last year's team. Hall was a huge weapon for his team last year, and again, showing up in a big way, having a game-changing type play, moving the ball down the field on just an easy little screen pass, taking it the distance, a huge boost for the home team here in Concord.
Trott, who's on to kick, did not miss an extra point all of last year, was 12 of 12. And he ties the game. 9:02 to go, first half. Just what we expected.
You can see the life in the stadium coming back here in Concord, the fans getting up and the crew of fans showing love to their team and getting behind here. And you can see it's a whole different atmosphere here after that score.
Fans have jammed in here like sardines again tonight, partner. Easy Smith's Field, Robert C. Bailey Stadium, and there's a look at the screen pass for a touchdown.
Well, we talk about Hall with his speed getting outside, but also how about the job the guys up front and the wide receivers blocking, setting the edge, and giving him the lanes to go the difference. A lot of things go into these plays. It's not just the guy catching the ball and running. A lot of it is the unseen blocking up front by those big guys, the offensive line, especially the wide receiver. A good job there executing. No penalties, again, keeping their hands on the inside with no holding calls.
Momentum, a finicky thing in football, as you know. Who's the momentum favoring right now?
Well, I think, it's what have you done for me lately? It's Concord. They've got it now, but again, they've got to build on it. They've got the home fans behind them here on their home turf. They've got to take advantage of it, and I think you're going to see this defense pick up their speed here and try to get things going on that side of the ball.
Landon Trott back deep to kick it away. Spiders having to run some guys on the field late, and everyone seems to be ready to go.
For special teams again, for A.L. Brown, you want to get a good return here, but again, the #1 key, we've already seen one fumble, is to hold on and protect the football. But again, blocking up front is important here to try to slow down the Spiders running down the field. You want to get the ball at least to the 30-yard line to give your offense a shorter field.
Short kick, fair catch called for and made at the 33-yard line. Justin Rogers makes the fair catch, and that's where the Spiders will operate this drive.
Near the 33.
All right, partner, we've seen a lot of different things from this A.L. Brown offense. I imagine they go back to the ground here.
Well, yeah, and I think that's where their bread and butter is running the ball. But if you're Concord, you've got to know that they're not looking to throw the ball. And Mike Newsome has confidence in his running attack, even though this is an inexperienced offense. They do have talent up front, and I think they're going to try to pound the rock. But it's really about who can impose the will on each other down at the offense and defensive line.
Butler has done a nice job managing the game so far at the quarterback position. Hands it away again, and Shamir Scott gets the carry, shedding tackles, first down to the 46.
Just love that play call there. It's Scott on the outside, again with the jet sweep, making the defense of the Spiders move and shift their eyes from the inside runs, trying to get them outside. And again, just changing the sides that they're running the ball. Good job of mixing up. We talk about mixing up the run in the past. It's also important to mix up the run in different angles and directions and the type of running plays.
Scott, 9 carries for 47 yards last year. His longest run was 13. Usurped that on that carry. Handoff this time to Mahata, who doesn't get a whole lot there. That's Mahata's 8th carry of the night. Minimal gain, brings up second down and long.
Number 90, Rick Sandage.
How about Rick Sandage? The first time we've called his name tonight and on the stop. Sandage, just a junior, has 2 more years to play high school football, but he has over 20 scholarship offers already. Flag is down as Bost gets the carry and down across first down yardage, but we'll see what the flag is all about.
Well, and Chris, you talk about 2 more years of playing, but also 2 more years of growing and getting stronger, faster, bigger, and he's going to be an outstanding prospect once he gets to the college level.
Well, wait and see what the flag is. Rick St. George, our referee, huddling with 2 of his officiating mates. Rick St. George, a tremendous referee, actually did a couple state championship games, did a game last year. It's a legal shift called against A.L. Brown. Looks like offsetting penalties. One was called against Concord, so we will replay second down. So as the old saying goes, much to do about nothing.
Yep, going to have to replay this, but the blocking outside. Nazrul Dean trying to come to the outside. And there, it's all going to be for nothing here with the penalty call.
And offsetting penalties. Basically have a do-over, 2nd and 8 from the 49.
Field looking in great condition here at Bailey Stadium. Coach Billings, the AD, did a great job getting it ready to go. High snap, fumble, ball loose. Still loose. Spiders have it. Loose ball. Concord will take the lead. Scooped up by Janae Spratt. Goes the distance for the Spider touchdown.
And stripping the ball offensive side. Look at the pressure up the middle on Butler, and then a bad snap enables everyone to get to the ball. Just getting the ball out of there. Spratt did a scoop and score here, and no one even close. Again, we talked about turnovers being a huge key in this game. Now Concord 13 unanswered points right now at the extra point pending.
All right, a couple things to pay attention to here. Spratt got the ball. Almost looked like Butler might have been down at the bottom of the pile. And now Butler, I believe it's Butler, he is down, being attended to by the medical staff as we welcome you inside Robert C. Bailey Stadium here at Concord High School. Beautiful night for football, along with Jason Halter, Chris Edwards with you. Carter Hicks up in the booth providing us the stats, doing his usual bang-up job. But the conversation, the focus now shifts away from competition into Butler, the quarterback, who's still down on the field.
Yeah, when you never want to see injuries come up in a game, and hopefully Butler will be okay. He was in a compromised position here with 3 or 4 guys jumping around trying to get the ball. You hate to see something like that, and obviously a bad situation where guys were jumping on the ground, and hopefully Butler, he's probably in a lot of pain right now, but hopefully he can get up from this and be okay.
But like his lower body might have got injured there. Something, you never want to see, period, but especially in the first game of the season, if you're A.L. Brown, certainly not what Coach Newsome and his offense needed in a situation like this.
Yeah, and, especially to start the game, to start the season, senior quarterback, one of the leaders on your team, go down with an injury, and I think a lot of the guys could see kind of how hard of a hit that was and looking like it was on his leg area. And I know everyone down there is thinking about Butler and Zach Williamson, the backup quarterback, looks like he may have to come into action here, getting warmed up on the sideline.
You know, we talked about it on Tuesday in our high school blitz show, our preview show, about the competition at the quarterback position for A.O. Brown this year. Williamson was the primary backup for the Wonders last year. Didn't see a ton of action. Had a couple pass attempts, 5 yards, ran the ball 6 times. But he really pushed Butler in the offseason, so he got a lot of reps in the preseason as well. So if you're Coach Newsom, that's probably a good thing that you've got that competition at the quarterback position.
Well, depth is an important part of any team, and having multiple guys that can play. You know, you're always going to have starters, but you want to have the backups be just as strong and talented as the starters are. And you know, I know Coach Newsom did kind of highlight both of those guys and saying he had confidence in them and felt like both could do a good job if they entered the game. And this looks like a spot here in a huge rivalry game that Williamson, knowing that he prepared for this game, is going to have to come in and do his job.
Jay, let's take a look at some of the keys to the game tonight. We'll start with A.O. Brown. Production on offense kind of been up and down for the Wonders at times.
Yeah, and you know, on that one drive, the scoring drive, they were able to push the ball in the running game. But other than that, they've had problems on offense throwing the ball and then creating turnovers on defense. It's really been the Spiders doing that. And for Concord, quarterback play, being efficient, they've had some good throws and penalties. There has been a couple penalties, but really the difference so far in this game has been the turnovers, Chris.
Go. Welcome you back to Bailey Stadium. Thanks for sticking with us through that injury timeout. 13-7 lead for Concord, I believe, after that fumble recovery. Cordarius Butler has been helped off the field into an ambulance. He'll be transported to the hospital. We certainly wish that young man a very speedy recovery.
Just a sad situation there. That's the worst part of the game of football is injuries, and just hope and pray that he's going to be okay and can get the treatment he needs and get back here recovered and playing the game of football.
Looks like they're going to go for 2 as that one lobbed to the back of the end zone and almost intercepted. Curious play there, Jay, up by 6 points if you're Coach Pageant looking for Naslin Ardeen. Why go for 2 in that situation?
Well, I think you go for 2 because you've got number 2 out there. One of the most athletic plays, but they're just too much loft on the ball. You've got to give him a shot to go up and get it in there. I think all the defenders being draped over him shows you what type of respect that Coach Newsom has for him, because he had 2 guys in his back pockets and another one hovering around him. It really kind of looked like he got pushed there.
Look at the ambulance that's transporting Cordarius Butler to the hospital. And again, we certainly wish Cordarius a very speedy recovery. If there is a silver lining for a situation like this, the injury happens in game 1 of the season and not in game 12 of the season.
Yeah, it's just hard because you know there's pain there when you're down on the field in an injury situation, but 2, also just the importance of this game and all the hard work you put into this, and Butler being the starting quarterback, you just hate it for anybody, especially in this game. That's something you don't want to see, and we just hope that he's going to be okay.
All right, back to football now. It's a 6-point lead for Concord. Landon Trott ready to kick it away, along with Jason Halter. Chris Edwards with you. Thanks for starting the high school football season with us. Happy New Year to all the high school football fans out there. Trott has it teed up at the 40. Another pooch kick. Fair catch. Rogers makes it at the 30-yard line. And the Wonders will start with 69 yards to go for Pater.
They're putting pressure on Rogers right there with the fair catch, and I'll tell you what, I've had to catch a couple of those kind of fair catches, those little squib kicks that go up in the air that loft up, and that's a tough catch. Good job by him focusing on the ball and waving for the fair catch, protecting himself and just making sure he can come down with it.
I think he's got better hands than you did.
Well, Chris, let's not make claims like that. I don't want to have to push you in the press box the first game of the year.
Zach Williamson will now get the call at quarterback for the Wonders.
You're already throwing jabs in game 1.
Hey, and
is this because I beat you in more or less last season?
No, you lost more or less today and last season. Williamson will hand it away. They start on the ground as a gain of about 4 yards there for A.L. Brown. Carry went to Stephen Howie, and will bring up 2nd down and 7. You didn't win more or less today. You didn't win more or less last year. Just resign yourself to the fact that I'm going to win again this year.
Chris, this is a new year, and I like the fact that you're confident. But like I said in the pregame, I'm like the Michael Phelps of more or less that game, and I'm going in with a positive mindset this year.
Handoff up the middle, and fighting his way out to the 38-yard line goes Bost. He'll be shy of the first down. It's been a steady diet of run for A.L. Brown here on this drive with Williamson in at quarterback. One more look at the carry by Bost.
Well, yeah, and here for Concord, if you're a defender out there, you got the backup quarterback in the game for a team that's a predominant run team anyways. You know most of the time it's going to be a running play, so you've got to have that kind of recognition and also read the play. But when you see it's run, go up there and fill the lanes, hit the gaps, and make the tackle, because this Kannapolis A.L. Brown team is really one-dimensional right now.
Flag was on the field and then was waved off. Preseason for those guys, too. So instead of being the flag, he meant to throw the timeout. So a timeout called by A.L. Brown. That'll be their second timeout of the half. So each team only has one timeout left for the final 6 minutes and 52 seconds of the half.
Well, I think both coaches recognizing the importance of calming their team down, executing to start this game with such a huge rivalry. You don't want one side to get up and then kind of have them have all the momentum. You want to stop momentum, make sure your team is set here. I think a good job of recognizing when they need to slow this game down, stop the clock, and pull your team to the sideline here. In a third and short situation, this is a big play here to continue this drive and gain some of the rhythm back for your offense.
Do you stick to the ground game here if you're the Wonders?
I think you have to. I think you need to try to get the ball to the outside on the perimeter, but in the running game. That's where you've had success so far.
Handoff goes to number 2 for A.L. Brown, Stephen Howie, and he is mollywopped in the backfield, and that'll bring up 4th down.
Well, and Howie, one of the returning stars here on the defense for the Spiders. Now, if you're the Spiders, great position here, getting off the field on 3rd down. Special team situation here, trying to get the ball to the outside. The Spiders said no, filling the gaps there, stealing the edge for the huge loss.
Hall back deep, watches this punt sail over his head, bobbles it inside the 10, still loose, and then plowed down. Ball is loose. Do the Wonders have a touchdown? No. Down at the 1, say our officials. And it looks like it's A.L. Brown football as the Wonders have it at the 1-yard line. And now Hall is hurt. Let's look at the replay.
You're just taking eyes off the ball. You've got to protect it. And special teams, we talked about playing a pivotal role in this game. First game of the year, and Spiders, critical mistake here. And for A.L. Brown, the Wonders finding a way to get a huge play on special teams, flipping the field position, getting the ball back here. Now you're giving your offense another chance.
Hall is being helped off the field, or was helped off the field. He'll get some medical attention as A.L. Brown huddles with their head coach far to the right of your screen. Wonders will have the football, 1st and goal from the 1, and a chance to tie the game up and take the lead as well.
Well, and for them, their offense doesn't have anything going, but when you get a special teams play like that, that boosts your confidence up, knowing that you're right near the goal line. I can tell you, when things aren't working well, your best friend, if you're an offense, is a big play on special teams, giving yourself a chance here, the very short field, to try to get points on the board.
Williamson will hand it away and into the end zone, touchdown, as Mahata gets the score. His first touchdown of the season, had 2 rushing scores a year ago, and the Wonders have tied the game.
We see just an inside run with that O-line, getting low. It's so important to drive off the ball, but also stay low, keep your hands inside if you're an offensive lineman. Just a good job of executing there, and now 13-13 tie with the extra point pending. A huge 2-point conversion miss for the Spiders earlier.
And it's Brian Gutierrez, the 5'10 junior, to attempt the extra point, as Mahata getting all kind of love on the sideline for tying the game up. And the kick, good. 1-point lead for A.L. Brown, and now if you're Coach Padgett on that Concord sideline, kicking yourself a little bit for going for 2 a moment ago?
Well, I think the fact that you didn't execute, now you are second-guessing yourself, and you had the momentum. This game has really been swerving back and forth with the momentum. It seems like when one side is looking like they're going to take over, the other side regains it somehow. And really, Chris, it's been the special teams that's taken over here.
A game like this, 14-13, ebbs and flows. How do you see things shaking out as we go along? I mean, we're halfway through. the second quarter.
Well, I think, especially the fact this is the first game of the year, but when a rivalry game, it's always going to be a close game in the battle for the bell because both teams are talented but have so much pride. But I think this type of game is kind of what we could have expected. Not perfect, but both teams playing hard. But I think really to the remainder of this game, the momentum is going to flip to both sides. It's really going to come down to, again, protecting the football, and I think really at the end of the game, who can make the critical kind of game-changing play to seal off the victory. I think it's going to come down to the end, though, Chris.
As these games usually do, not many blowouts in the Bell game.
Well, it's highly competitive. I know for all the parents in the stands, it's very nerve-wracking seeing your son out there playing in such a huge game, and the winner kind of gets to brag for a year, and the other team has to figure out a way to prepare to try to get the Bell back the next year.
Deep kickoff from Gutierrez. Fielded at the 15. Running room, shedding tackles, and out across the 30 goes Justin Nicholson, and it'll be 1st and 10 Concord from the 32.5.
Number 52.
For Concord, how are you going to respond? You gave up a big play. You were ahead, had the momentum. How do you regain it here on special teams? Pretty good field position getting out past the 30. But it's all going to be how can their offense execute up front, blocking, but also scheming a way to get Nasruddin the ball, P.J. Hall the ball. And I think in the passing game, you don't necessarily need to throw the ball deep down the field. Just try to get the ball to those guys in short passing situations.
Handoff. Hall bouncing it outside, looking for a room, and he spun down to the 28-yard line.
And Chris, in that situation with Hall, he's got speed, but when he gets bounced to the outside, that's really playing into the hands of A.L. Brown and the wonder speed on the defensive side of the ball, because they can roam and track him down with 2 or 3 guys. If you're the Spiders, you want to have a one cut and running downhill where it's a very quick shot. You get your block set and then let Hall, with his speed but also his power, keep his shoulders parallel and directly in front of him and running downhill to get those extra yards when he falls forward and can make that extra cut once he goes through the hole.
Loss of 5. That was just the 4th carry of the night for Hall. Maybe a little surprised that Concord has not given him the ball more often on the ground.
Yeah, well, I think they need to feature him more, and I think you got to get him the ball on the ground, but also in the passing game you can continue to have him flare out of the backfield to try to get open that way.
Headsy play there by Lancaster, just throwing it away, but they're going to throw a flag for grounding. Now, let's remember, in high school football, there is no such thing as a tackle box.
A little bit different rules, but here again, you're just kind of shooting yourself in the foot and putting yourselves behind the sticks now. It's going to be a long down and distance. And you're just moving back and making it much tougher on your offense, changing the field position here.
So intentional grounding is 5 yards from the spot the infraction occurred and a loss of down. So it's now 3rd down and 20, or 3rd down and all the way to Kannapolis.
Yeah, it's 3rd and a mile. But, Chris, in this situation here, again, you really have 2 options if you're Concord: to be conservative, run the ball, or throw a short screen pass, or if you want to hit him with a deep shot, try to throw the ball to Nasruddin, your playmaker, right now in single coverage, but a safety shaded over towards him. So he's going to get double teamed. 4
receivers to the top. They go with a screen pass, caught, and then dropped. And are they going to say A.L. Brown football or incomplete pass? Wonders have it, and it is A.L.
Good recipe right now. Having a short field, your defense is doing an outstanding job helping out your offense, and the offense hasn't been able to throw it, but they sure can run it, especially on a short field. They're just really having tight splits up front, staying low on their blocks and giving their guys an opportunity to run through the holes.
Shamir Scott got the carry there, tried to bounce it outside. Should be close to a 1st down. Looks like it'll be 1st and goal maybe for the Wonders from inside the 5 as they're knocking on the door again. A chance maybe to score 14 unanswered of their own.
Yeah, and really the response has been impressive, but here you want a response of your own if you're the Spiders. You've got to figure they're going to keep the ball on the ground, and they do here.
Mata gets the call and is in. Touchdown, Wonders.
3-yard touchdown for the Wonders.
The 2nd touchdown of the game for Mahata. And it's a 20-13 lead with the extra point coming for A.L. Brown.
Here, look at the blocking up front, putting a hat on a hat. Concord not able to push back and get any push on the defensive line, and it's been all A.L. Brown here this latter part of this quarter.
Gutierrez for the extra point. And the kick is good. 14 unanswered by A.L. Brown. This is a game of streaks, a game of runs, if you will. 14 straight for Concord after A.L. Brown scored first. Now 14 unanswered for A.L. Brown after Concord scored their 14.
Yeah, well, if you're a player out there, you can't panic if you're a Spider, and you can't get overconfident. If you're a Wonder, you've got to continue to stay composed. But really, you've got to fix the mistakes if you're the Spiders. You can't continue to give the ball up, especially in short field situations to the Wonders. And for A.L. Brown, they're just doing an outstanding job flying around on defense and also taking advantage of the turnovers, because just because the ball gets stripped doesn't necessarily mean it has to go to you, but the Wonders are making sure they're flying to the ball and they're going to be on the spot if the ball's on the ground, and a good job there with 2 turnovers.
Couple of really sloppy turnovers for Concord here in the first half. If you're Coach Padgett, what was the message to your offense?
The message is stay true to your fundamentals and hold on to the ball. I mean, it's really a simple message. You've got to protect the football. That's the most important thing. Before you run, before you take your eyes on the ball, is to make sure you secure it.
Gutierrez will kick. And that one might go out of bounds and will, so a mistake for A.L. Brown. Good field position for Concord.
And there's an unforced error, and this is where you want to take advantage of a mistake. For the Spiders, you want to get positive yards here because you want to try to flip the field position, obviously score, but you just need to get something going, keep your defense off the field.
Interesting is Larkin Lancaster has been the starting quarterback, comes back out to start this drive. But as we survey the sideline for Concord, Jacob Irby is warming up, the transfer from Mount Pleasant, who transferred in on Monday, warming up. Perhaps Coach Padgett thinking about a quarterback switch here.
Well, he hasn't been here very long at all, and it's going to be tough to pick up this offense. Was a chance he was possibly going to play in tonight's ball game. We see him getting loose. Doesn't look like anything's imminent down on the sideline, though.
Flags as the play continues. Lancaster tries to keep it alive. Stopped after a loss of about half a yard. And we will wait and see what the flags are all about, partner. I imagine it's going to be some sort of movement up front would be my gut, perhaps on the defense.
Well, we'll see.
No, it looks like it's on.
Before I say whose fault it is, let's see what happens.
That's an illegal shift called on Concord. And I think they are going to back them up. Yes, so it'll be 1st and 15.
Yeah, and again, this is just a situation where you're the coaching staff for the Spiders. You're pulling your hair out because you get good field position. And then, again, you're backing up. Instead of moving forward, you're just backing up. And looking at the body language down in that huddle, you can tell they don't have the confidence that they did earlier in the game where they were driving down the field very easily.
Seems like a similar script for Concord to last year's game in Kannapolis, where they had some momentum, had some positive field position, but penalties and turnovers really hurt them in that game. Man in motion. Play action. Lancaster flipping it downfield. Naslin Ardeen Skies makes the catch. That is upended. A nice defensive play there by A.L. Brown as Sincere Allison up from his safety spot to make the tackle.
And I was holding my breath when that ball was in the air because it was floating much too long up in the air. You'll see Lancaster rolling out with the misdirection, and now you got to throw it. Nasruddin was open, but lofting it up like that, I could just see there was going to be a hit there, especially in the lower region. Hopefully he's okay because he was hanging in the air and you just jumping up that high knowing you're going to hit. That's a dangerous position to be.
And now he is down on the field and hurt, and everybody on this Concord side holding their breath because that's a huge weapon, not only on offense but also on defense for the Spiders.
Well, and just the leadership too. He's the best player on the field for both schools of them. One of the main reasons is projecting him and seeing his ability now, but also seeing how much he's going to grow. And Coach Padgett has talked to us and last year about the talent he has and what he means to this program. You know, he's been a pivotal part in their success, but he's going to have a great career at South Carolina, and he's going to continue to grow. And just see him right here. Look at his vertical jump. but they're having his legs taken out from under him, and really just a vulnerable position for him, jumping up in the air and getting hit.
Didn't appear as though there was anything structural that might have happened. Perhaps it have twisted his ankle maybe a little bit, but you never know what might happen inside the leg. That's in the region where the ACL and the MCL. Don't want to speculate, but you certainly hope that young man is okay.
Yeah, well, it's just, I've been in that position where you're defenseless and you're just hanging up there and you know someone's going to hit you and you just hope that you'll be okay.
Being helped off the field, their head athletic trainer, Mandy Porter, helping him off the field. Spider students rise and ready to continue this offensive series. 3.5 minutes to go here in the first half. 21-13. Wonders have the lead in what's been a back and forth game. And I guess if there's a silver lining to playing this game, and keep in mind, this is a physical, it's an emotional game for kids on both sides. They grew up since they were in Pop Warner football wanting to play in this game, wanting to beat the other side as handily as possible. Maybe a good thing this is the first game of the season.
Well, yeah, and Nazrel Dean's father played in this game, so there's history with him here. But yeah, I mean, there's so much tension, emotion, and preparation that goes into this game.
Big run for P.J. Hall and into open territory and a first down for the Spiders. We talked about Hall maybe not getting the carries that we thought he should. Shows his explosive ability on that run.
Well, and you've got to get the ball to him. I've been saying it all game, but you've got to find different ways to get it to him. And here, getting the ball to him on a fake counter play, just going up the middle with a jet reverse coming outside. It held the defense up, just made them make a pause, and it gave him enough time to get to the outside using the stiff arm here. You can see the confidence, excitement on the sideline start to go up for the Spiders.
Gain of 32 down to the Wonder 35 from the pistol. Hall trying the outside and swarmed under. Tremendous defensive play that time by Sherrod Sutton, who, as we highlighted in the open, great linebacker, ubiquitous for this Wonder defense.
Well, and very fast, elusive, but he's recognizing the plays. And you see him, he's a linebacker running down Hall. We've already seen twice how fast Hall is on big runs. And there, the Sutton, the linebacker, able to catch him from the backside.
Hall has come off the field after this run. Tried to cut it outside, didn't get maybe a great block from his offensive line, but hard to block two guys at one time.
Well, and he shot the gap, he recognized it, and that's why Hall needs to be a guy that's running downfield. You can't have him running to the outside and stringing it out because the Wonders are much too fast on defense.
Nice defensive play there by A.L. Brown, as big hit by number 59, Khalil Tate. It looked like Concord wanted to try that screen pass there to Campbell, but A.O. Brown maybe recognizing the screen, got a hat on a hat.
Yeah, well, in that situation where it's second and long, now third down, but second and long, if you're a defender, seeing the tendencies that the Spiders have, you figure they're not going to throw the ball deep with Nazrel Dean out. They're going to try to throw a little screen pass there, and getting in trouble there. Just too many defenders for the Wonders, getting the huge sack now. Again here, 3rd and a mile. A tough position for the Spiders.
Clock rolling inside of 2 minutes for the opening half. Spiders will operate from the shotgun again. Pressure and going. No, they reversed it. It's Campbell who's got it, and this play is going nowhere. Pick your tackler that time for A.L. Brown. Spiders tried a little trickery, Jay, but that certainly did not fool anybody.
Yeah, well, and a good coaching point here for Campbell. On the reverse, getting the ball, he actually did a nice job. You'll see here, not fooling anybody, but coming back around Campbell, getting the ball, but really here, securing it. Look at the defenders flying around trying to strip, and once you get held up, you just need to get down here, hold on to the football, even though it was a huge loss. It could have been worse as the Wonders were trying to strip it, but Campbell, held on to it till the end, getting to the ground now, and now it's going to be up to the special teams to try to flip the field.
A.O. Brown calls the timeout. They have now exhausted their timeouts for the first half, so for the final 1:25 of the half, A.O. Brown is out of timeouts. Concord still has one timeout remaining. And I tell you, third downs are always such a pivotal point in football games. They have not been kind third downs to Concord tonight, just 1 of 5 this evening.
Yeah, and those are kind of what we like to call the money downs, where you can make the big plays happen. You can get points on the board on third down, and they haven't been able to execute. And another problem we've seen is the special teams. That's really their issue. That's why they're down right now.
Speaking of special special teams, 1:25 left. If you're A.L. Brown, do you bring a punt block here?
I think here you're going to get the ball in good field position. You don't want to bring the punt block because you want to get the ball. If you bring the punt block, you don't get it. You want to get a penalty, move the ball down, or have a threat of something bad happen. You want to play the situation safe here because there's still plenty of time to move the ball down the field.
But now Concord is going to call a timeout, so the Spiders are also out of timeouts now. So neither team has a timeout for the final 85 seconds of the half. Perhaps Coach Paget and the special teams coaches saw how A.L. Brown was lining up. Now maybe going to change their strategy, but not going to go for it on 4th and 38, obviously.
Yeah, and Coach Paget looked like he was in the huddle giving a very stern message to his team. And I think the number one thing that he was saying is you got to protect your gap if you're a blocker up front and let this ball and this punt get off, because if they do bring the rush here, the last thing you want is a special teams turnover. So the pressure on the guys and the blockers up front is really important here to make sure they secure their gap and don't release until they pause and hold their man up for a second.
Good snap. Trot gets away, a high kick. Fielded and spun down at the 39-yard line. And then a late flag comes in for perhaps a hit on Brandon Dry. Penalties, again, hurting Concord. Folks in the press box disagreeing with that call. It'll be a dead ball personal foul, and the vociferous disagreement from the Concord fans can be heard throughout Cabarrus County.
Well, and just another unforced error, whether you agree with it or not. Whether you agree with it or not, again, you can't put yourself in that position, and some will say that was a good call, some will say they disagree. But it was still a huge penalty now, changing the field position from the 40 down to about the 46-yard line on the other side for A.L. Brown. The Wonders, still plenty of time. If you're Coach Newsom and his staff, you probably need to run a quick pace offense here, but you can still run the ball a couple times.
Williamson gonna run, shedding tackles. Oh, still on his feet, now running backwards, still on his feet. And he's down at the 40-yard line, but Jay, he exhausted a ton of time there.
I was going to say that was a great play, but in this circumstance, it almost worked against him because he ran sideways, forward, sideways, and up again. But he only picked up about 5 yards, but lost about 10 seconds just on the run, and now the clock is running. So here in this situation, you're going to have to play at a quick pace, but you're going to have to throw the ball as well to get the ball down in a better field position to score.
No timeouts, under 40 seconds. Williamson looking, gonna stiff arm a man, still on his feet, and down inside the 30. It'll be a first down. Coach Paget irate with the officials that there was no block in the back.
Williamson has to get out of bounds there. The young player trying to get the extra yards, but good play call, running on the perimeter. But still, the clock's going to start rolling here. It stopped there on the first down, but you need to get out of bounds because here you're already lost 5 seconds here, 6 seconds now without the ball being snapped.
Inside of 20 and a flag on the play. And it'll be a procedure penalty. Let's take another look at the replay.
Let's see, Williamson, I think this is a great job by him extending this play, looking for a receiver, not able to find anybody, but right here you got to dart to the outside, trying to pick up the extra block. He did get some extra yards, but they did lose about 7 seconds. Once the clock stopped, and then they started rolling again. They lost 7 seconds before the ball was snapped again. So just a coaching point for a young player. He'll pick up on that and learn that here.
Clock starts again, 15 seconds to go and moving. Got to hurry to get the play off.
Motion, he's rocking.
Back to pass. All day for Williamson. Has some happy feet, gonna run. Williamson still on his feet. He'll be short of the first down, and that'll expire the first half. And that'll be the end of the first half. And what a first half it was. Ups and downs, ebbs and flows. A 21-13 lead here at the break for A.L. Brown, Jay.
But yeah, and I think here, the halftime break, both teams have a lot of adjustments to make. Even though the Wanderers are up, they still have a long way to go in this game, and Concord can come back as well. It's just going to come down to who can make the big play and who can protect the football, Chris.
Wanderers up 21-13 at halftime. Coming up next on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. game was 1950, and wouldn't you know it, Jay, it ended in a scoreless tie. The first exchange of the bell came back in 1951. Concord won.
And back in those days, it wasn't the offense like we see today. It was 3 yards on a cloud of dust. Today, a little bit more explosive, but you've seen the evolution of football and just this rivalry continue to expand, and how much that bell means. It's really special to see, and we saw last year what it meant to the Wonders, getting that bell and bringing it to Kannapolis.
And the rivalry runs thick in this part of the state. These are two communities. The high schools are probably 6-7 miles apart. I may not be doing it justice, but they're literally right down the road from one another. And I tell you what, this is, if you're a Concord fan or a Kannapolis fan, you don't pull for the other team. Even if they're in maybe the state championship, you're going to stick to your guns.
There are strict enemy lines.
Yes.
You do not pull for the other team. And really, it's something that's kind of, it's sacred, protecting your turf. And that's why the Wonders won it on their home field last year. And it was a proud, special moment for them. And for the Spiders here, want to regain the bell, but also the ability to do it at home in front of your own fans is something that's huge to them and something they wanted to regain.
All right, let's talk about the game a little bit. 21-13 lead for the visiting Wonders here as we approach the start of the third quarter. Give me some insight as to what was talked about in both those huddles. We'll start with A.O. Brown, who leads 21-13.
Well, I think you can't be satisfied just because you're ahead and you've done some good things. You've turned the ball over and gotten those turnovers and executed. That doesn't mean that this game's over. It's only a one-possession game, only 8 points. So you've got to continue to fly around on defense, play fundamentally sound, and not give up the big play. And they were able to hold Nazarudeen in check, even though he did drop that one pass. They need to do a good job of focusing on him if he can come back in this game, and also containing Hall. Now, I think that's really the key, is containing Hall and those two guys, because they can do that. They're going to be in a positive position, and for the Wonders, you just got to continue to run the ball and find a recipe to try to get your offensive line to get their blocks up front set so your running game can continue to produce, because your passing game right now hasn't really been consistent.
All right, let's go to the Concord side of things. Coach Padgett in that huddle, or in that locker room, as the Spiders come down from the top of the hill. Obviously not pleased with the turnovers that his team committed in the first half. Some silly penalties as well. What do you think Coach Padgett told that group in the locker room?
Well, I think he probably fussed at him a little bit, because you can't have turnovers, especially not in this game with the tension riding on this game. Sometimes you need to light a fire under your team, and I have a feeling he did just that, was kind of get under them and let them recognize that, hey, there's still a lot of time left in this game. They can change the tempo of this game, but they've got to go out there and execute on offense. What do I mean by that? They can't shoot themselves in the foot with penalties. And on defense, they've done a pretty good job, but they've had bad field position caused by those turnovers.
There. What do you think? Hey.
And really, Chris, just an outstanding crowd here tonight, and what a venue. And as soon as we walked in the stadium here, this looks like a college atmosphere. And
okay.
Coach Padgett talked to us earlier this week just about how many of these players are going to go on and play at the college level, and that type of atmosphere you see at the college level is huge at Division I. Some smaller schools, this is a bigger atmosphere in this environment in high school than some college atmosphere. So he was really just talking about how lucky his players are to be a part of this rivalry, but also, too, just how great these fan bases are to support their schools and to really show up for them and stand behind them, because this is something that is pretty much going to be the biggest game of most of these players' lives.
Chantel Jordan working the sideline for us tonight. We'll hopefully hear from Chantel either later in the game or in our game next week as we battle through some technical difficulties tonight. We appreciate you sticking with us. But Chantel talked with Coach Padgett at halftime, and the underlying theme for Coach Padgett was how Concord's going to change those blocking schemes because A.O. Brown is having so much success running the football that led to a couple of those scores.
Yeah, and that's going to be a huge adjustment to watch and follow here. And also, too, Chantel had talked to Coach Newsom, and Coach Newsom told her not to be surprised that they even rotate away from Williamson and give some of the other backup quarterbacks they had some playing time here, because he's got confidence in those guys. So even though Butler is out, he feels like he can go even 3 deep with his quarterback situation.
Coach Pageant also said that Naslin Ardeen is coming back, so that's an encouraging sign for Concord. They checked him out. He's good to go. I don't think the news as good for Cordarius Butler on the A.O. Brown side. Don't want to speculate, but we hope that he's okay. Get the facts on alcohol and the teen brain and tips on talking with your kids about underage drinking. TalkItOutNC.org. Certainly proud to have TalkItOutNC.org back with us again this season as one of the big sponsors here on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. It comes down to 24 minutes in this battle for the Bell, the 67th edition of the Bell game. Bell clad in A.L. Brown green. Will it stay in green and head back to Kannapolis, or will the Spiders make a furious second half comeback and paint the Bell black and bring it back to Concord?
Yeah, and Chris, they're 24 minutes away from the celebration at the end of the game, but I'm telling you, if I'm a senior, if I'm anybody in that locker room, I'm lighting a fire under my teammates as well and trying to show leadership, because the next 24 minutes is really going to determine the next year in this rivalry. And it was such an important game here, but important for the leaders to step up and play your best football. For both teams, I wouldn't say their best football was played in the first half. That's not to be expected because this is the first game, but still, you want to go out here, play your hardest, but also.
Will it stay in green and head back to Kannapolis, or will the Spiders make a furious second half comeback and paint the Bell black and bring it back to Concord?
Yeah, and Chris, they're 24 minutes away from the celebration at the end of the game, but I'm telling you, if I'm a senior, if I'm anybody in that locker room, I'm lighting a fire under my teammates as well and trying to show leadership, because the next 24 minutes is really going to determine the next year in this rivalry. And it was such an important game here, but important for the leaders to step up and play your best football. For both teams, I wouldn't say their best football was played in the first half. That's not to be expected because this is the first game, but still, you want to go out here, play your hardest, but also execute to the best of your ability, because this game is going to last in the memory for everybody here for the next 364 days.
Concord gets the football first to start this. Brian Gutierrez ready to boot it away and get us going here in half number 2. See if they kick it deep or if they go with the short kick here. They will go deep, end over end kick. This one fielded at the goal line. It's returnable for Nicholson up the middle. Now bouncing it outside and upended at the 32-yard line, so decent field position for the Spiders as we start the third quarter.
Nicholson living dangerously there, backing up to catch that ball, but still was able to get enough forward momentum, hit the cut, or one cut there, followed his blockers, got across the 30, and that's a positive way to start this half. But again, we've seen so many times good field position kind of be knocked backwards because of penalties. So Nasruddin back in the game here. Look for them to continue to try to focus on getting him the ball or using him as a decoy to get the ball to Hall.
Lancaster back in at quarterback. He'll throw to the near side. Caught by Naslin Ardeen. Slips one tackle, slips two tackles, and has a first down to the 44-yard line.
Chris, it's really as simple as that. You don't have to throw the ball deep down the field. Just throw side screens, short little passes to him. Let him do the rest of his yards after the catch ability. And just make it easy on your offense. And your offensive line protecting and holding up, and the quarterback getting the ball out of his hands quickly.
Naslin Ardeen making the catch there for Concord. That is his third catch of the night. Quick injury there as Knacker Wise was shaken up, still being attended to on the near side. Appears like he's just cramping up. And Jay, as we talked about so much, yes, you got to hydrate on game day, but hydrate all week leading up to game day, especially when it's 9 million degrees outside.
Yeah, I mean, it's really important to be healthy throughout the week, but also on game day, you want to be healthy throughout this game, and the cramps is going to play a huge part of this early regular season for all high school teams across the state, and that's why it's so important for the training staff, but also these players to eat right and drink enough water, because many times these players will feast on junk food or not drink enough water, but it comes into play in a game like this because the humidity is unreal right now.
So they'll help, beg your pardon, Wise off the field. Seems to be walking off under his own power, encouraging sign, but does have to come off for one play. 1st and 10 for the Spiders. Now, we saw Irby warming up on the sideline, Jay. Do you think they stick with Lancaster for a while at quarterback?
I think they're going to stick with him to go for the rest of the go because he's been warming up, but it looks more to be just staying loose. It doesn't look like there's any urgency for him to get in the game, and he's just kind of standing there staying loose.
Naslin Ardeen makes the catch there, brings up second down and short. Let's head down to the field and say hi for the first time tonight to the third member of our crew, Chantel Jordan. Hello, Chantel.
Hey guys, so I caught up with Coach Newsom for A.L. Brown. He said obviously a huge loss with Cordarius Butler going out, but Zach Williamson came in, he stepped up. He said he has a few quarterbacks that have been practicing plenty this season and are ready to step up for this role. So Zach will be out there for the rest of the night probably. They might be throwing in some other quarterbacks, but he said they're doing really great right now. He's happy, they're up, and they're going to keep doing what they've been doing. Guys.
Chantel, thanks a lot. Look forward to your reports tonight and all season long as our Thursday night football game of the week continues. Another injured player there on the sideline. Looks like it might be an A.L. Brown player, Jay, and looks like it's a cramp again. There's a terrific look at the new quarterback, Zach Williamson. But brings Williamson, and we'll talk about this more in a little bit, but brings a different dynamic to this Concord offense. Left-handed quarterback coming from a different arm slot.
Well, and that's different for the defense because you're used to kind of your contact angle for Butler and a right-handed quarterback to be in the pocket or rolling out to the right side. Now lefty, he's going to want to roll out to the left side, and also too, he's very athletic, so he's going to want to roll out of the pocket more. So they're going to have to kind of have a guy shadow him, know where he is at all points, because we saw in that last drive of the second quarter there, right before the half, he was elusive, and he did pick up positive yards running the ball when he was rolling out on his sprint out passes, but there just wasn't enough time for him to get in the end zone. So that's something to watch, to see him get into sync here in this second half and see how he develops throughout this game.
Still attending to the injured player. Nice look at the Kannapolis fan base. Boy, they turned out in droves tonight, as did the Concord community. If you wanted to rob the bank in Concord or Kannapolis, tonight might be the night to do it.
Well, if you're hungry, I don't think there's any food places open over there. I don't think anything's open over there. And really in Concord, everyone is out here supporting the team as well. And just a huge crowd and one of the best venues you'll see all season long.
It was Mahata who made the tackle a moment ago. He was the injured player being helped up off the field. And now we are ready to continue on 2nd and 3. Sherrod Sutton, the leader of the defense, stalking the backfield. Play action, pressure, and a sack. Oh, Najee Williams, the 6'1 junior off the end. He had 5 sacks a year ago. Brings up 3rd and long for the Spiders.
Yeah, and here with the pressure, great job by the defensive line. Just doing what they've been known to do, and that's getting pressure, and then huge play, and now 3rd and long, Chris, just like you said. Another situation, not a penalty now, but a sack, putting them at 3rd and long, and you've got to look for number 2 right here, Nasruddin, try to pick up the slack and get an explosive play to get the first down.
Veteran defensive line for A.L. Brown, juniors and seniors all the way across. Play action, bootleg, flipping it, caught. First down for the Spiders as the pass caught by Zayon Bogner, who makes the first down. Bogner, the 6' junior, his first catch of the season.
Chris, just outstanding design, outstanding play call by Coach Paget here with the rollout and the naked bootleg going to the opposite side. Nasruddin was on the right. He was right on the perimeter as he ran down the field. He was getting double covered. Bogner running the deep shallow across the field, getting to 10 yards. He was uncovered because all the focus was on Nasruddin. So just great design right there and a perfect time to get the first down.
2 minutes into the 3rd quarter. Back to the ground. Hall up the middle. And Hall gets about 7 on first down. We talked a little bit about the defenses in the first half and how A.L. Brown has gone from that 4-3 to the 4-2-5. They have a new defensive coordinator in Barry Lipscomb, who coached the defensive backs last year. Previous defensive coordinator Noah Lyons, now the full-time AD. Does that change affect anything in this game tonight?
Well, I think it changes just because you got a different voice. And yeah, you've had these coaches throughout the spring and the summer, so you know them. But this is their first time calling a game. So, yeah, it's different. But I think just the familiarity with the program, it's not going to be huge key in this game. It's just how do you execute on the field? That's the key.
Deep ball for Nassau Nardine, incomplete, and a flag. That'll be pass interference. Our back judge, Timothy Hedgepath, right on top of it, and a pretty easy call there.
Well, Chris, in that situation, getting triple covered, see the respect Nasruddin has here. Got 3 wonders shadowing him. You never want to throw it into triple coverage.
That
here.
might be offensive pass interference.
And he may. We'll see what it is. But in that situation, Chris, you want to give your receiver a chance to catch the ball. You don't want to overthrow Nasruddin. You want to either throw it in stride or short point it to give him an opportunity to jump for the ball, and the flag is going to be picked up.
It is. But looked to me like there was some contact. The officials getting together and saying, you know what, I think it was just incidental contact. Both guys made a play for the ball. No harm, no foul. 2nd down and 3. Do you go back to the ground here after taking a shot downfield?
I would go back to the ground here, and I think with this situation, you want to have a heavy dose of the ground here until you get the 1st down.
Hall keeping the legs moving. He'll be shy of the 1st down. Daryl Fitzgerald, the 6'2 senior, the outside linebacker, came in to make the stop there. And it'll be 3rd down, and check that 4th down in an inch.
And Chris, in this situation, being 4th down and here Hall falling forward, good job running downhill again, just one cut and going. Here with the field position here, you can't kick the field goal. You don't want to punt it. So this is where they're bringing in
the hog mollies.
The hog mollies here. Like you said, the big guys. This is a situation where you got to go for it here to try to pick up the 4th down and continue this drive.
Play clock is down to 10, so they better hurry. The Maryland Eye full house backfield. Lancaster. Oh, looked like A.L. Brown jumped. They had Hall running the Wildcat there, but I think they're going to get a 1st down on the Brown penalty. And A.L. Brown does commit the encroachment, and that'll be a 1st down for the Spiders.
Well, and part of that was the hard count by the Spiders there, getting them to jump offside, and something on defense you just can't do. You can't give a free 1st down up. And there with Hall is in the Wildcat. They had the big guys and the jumbo linemen to come in for that 4th down play, but Hall was in the backfield in the Wildcat. And yes, he could have picked it up, but he was starting about 4 yards back to go for 4th and an inch. So an interesting play call, but still getting the 1st down for the Spiders without even having to run the play.
Lancaster works from the shotgun. Hall got past 1 tackle and down to the 21. B.J. Hall's had a nice ball game, Jay, since he's been given a chance to run the football consistently.
He has. I think he needs to continue getting the flow, and many running backs get stronger as the game goes on, and people wonder about that. How can he get stronger? Shouldn't he get tired? But running back position is so important to get into a flow of the game, get into rhythm, and also be able to read your blocks up front. And as the game flows, running backs just get more comfortable reading the blocks, and the game slows down for them, and that's many times why you'll see them get better as the game goes on.
Quick pitch to the outside. Caught by Campbell, and nothing doing as he's driven back nicely by the A.O. Brown defense. Looked like it was Sincere Allison who was there to push him back.
Well, and we've seen when the Spiders throw the ball side to side, it hasn't gone well for them because the speed of this defense has really been able to flow and get to the ball quick. So again, talk about running the ball downhill. They're trying to throw the ball deep to Nasruddin. That's where the recipe of success has worked so far.
3rd down and 7. Trips to the bottom of your screen. Rolling right. Sidearm pass incomplete. Looking for Campbell. Once again, it was Baldwin there on the coverage, and that'll bring up 4th down. And again, decision time for Glenn Padgett and the Spiders.
It was like a little Brett Favre sidearm pass right here with the moxie coming to the outside. Trying to fit it in that window, a tough play. Here, Chris is coming down to this 4th down situation, like you said, and who are you going to look for? I'd say number 2 or number 5 again. But we've seen on these 3rd down and 4th down critical situations kind of trick plays, whether it's the reverse or a stop and go by Nasruddin. So see what Coach Padgett pulls out of the playbook.
Play clock is already at 5, Jay, and Concord's going to have to burn a timeout with 6:35 left in the 3rd quarter. They were late getting the play call into Larkin. So that might come back to hurt the Spiders as we progress on here in the second half.
Well, and we talked about how quick timeouts are called in the first half. In the second half, you want to use them at the right time, but also preferably you'd rather wait till the fourth quarter to use them and just use them very judiciously. So, again, important drive right now, though, because Spiders down by 8. They need to get a score here to try to get some life back in the stadium.
Also, very special thanks to the
Let's go down to the field and rejoin Chantel Jordan, who's got an injury update for us. Chantel?
Yeah, so I went over to the AL Brown side, and J.D. Miller was barely walking. He had his Achilles and calf area stretched out pretty aggressively. The trainer would not give me an update, however, but it looks like he may or may not return to the game tonight.
Chantel, thanks. Jay, third down, still not a friend to Concord. 1 of 7 on third downs tonight.
Well, and fourth down, they're
They are.
now. They need a buddy right now here on fourth down. But looking at this formation here, and Coach Newsome, his staff hoping his defense stands up. The field spread out wide. Nasruddin out by the sideline here, one-on-one coverage.
Pressure, flipped, caught by Hall somehow, and he'll be short of the marker. If the pass is maybe in target where he can catch it in stride, might have a shot at the first down, but having to leave his feet probably hurt him a little bit.
Well, and I like that formation, Chris, because Nasruddin was split out, so you had the coverage over there and focus on him. Now you're faking towards the right, coming back to the left with Hall with the misdirection, but on that short side of the field, not a lot of room. The Wonders, with their speed, they closed it pretty quick, a positive play, but just not enough room to get the first down. And now Hall flipping sides of the field and here playing defense.
A.O. Brown, their first possession of the second half, trying to build upon a 8-point lead. Handoff up the middle, big running room for the Wonders. It'll be a first down out across the 40 as the carry that time for A.L. Brown went to E.J. Henderson, one of the new guys in the ball game. First carry of the night for Henderson, who picks up a ton of yards there on first down.
Well, just a good job flipping the field position, and Spiders kind of had to pin back a little bit after one play. It's getting close to midfield.
Scott on the carry after a 24-yard gain out to the 46-yard line, gets about 5 yards that time. This is an A.L. Brown club that has not won a conference title since 2011 after winning 5 straight from 07 to 2011. There is a reason for that. They play in the Mecca Conference with some team that is pretty good, I think. Mallard Creek, they won a couple state championships.
It's pretty much the SEC West of high school football, and Mallard Creek, gosh, what a dominant program, and they're nationally ranked going into this season. Just a huge power in the Charlotte area, but besides them, that whole conference is loaded. A.L. Brown's just a great team, and that just goes to show you the depth in that league.
Scott loaded for another big run, has the first down into Spider territory. Now, the realignment numbers have already come out. Realignment will take place next year. A.O. Brown will drop back down to the 3A ranks and join the South Piedmont Conference again. Will most likely move this game back to the final game of the regular season. And boy, those are going to be some more wars in this conference.
Well, I think they're probably happy about that. They love playing this the first game, but to move it to the last, to kind of look toward that game, and also moving down to 3A. For A.L. Brown, that's probably a positive thing for them, and it'll be interesting to see how things shake out throughout the regular season, but also going into next year with all the realignments.
Bouncing it outside was Henderson again. And not much doing there. We'll bring up second down. A.L. Brown has had tremendous success at the 3A level. 3 state championships, 1989, 1997. Won the Western North Carolina State Championship in 1960 and have been runners-up in the state championship in 84, 91, and 2008. It's been a big night of explosive plays on the ground for A.L. Brown. Here's Henderson, Jay, with a big run, picking up over 20 yards a couple minutes ago.
Well, and I like the misdirection. It makes a lot of window dressing for these defenders for Concord, having to look at different guys running through the backfield and try to diagnose who has the ball. And then when it's run the ball right up the gut. That little pause and that hesitation puts you on your heels just enough if you're a defender to let the offensive lineman kind of push on you, get that momentum on you. Then it's about shedding the block or getting off the block. But I'm telling you from experience, that's a tough thing to do when some guy's driving against you and he's got the momentum pushing forward, and that's why you see a 20-yard run by the Wonders.
Jay, we've seen a lot of players cramping in the second half. Didn't see that a ton in the first half. Is that one because it's so humid out here and guys are just losing fluids?
Yeah, I mean, it's all because of humidity. I mean, it really is. And also, too, you have to remember these guys have been practicing, and I know they've gotten rest up to this game, but these guys aren't necessarily fresh because they've gone through all the dog days of summer with practice. And seeing all these cramps out on the field, Chris, I've got my supply of Gatorade here. I would advise that we both drink up so we don't have any cramps up in the booth.
Thanks for bringing me some.
I've got one right here. You haven't been aggressive enough to come get it.
I didn't know you brought me one.
I'm sharing.
I didn't know that.
Sharing is caring.
Man, what a game, what a rivalry. Great look at the hill by the Concord Fieldhouse. They're packed in here like sardines, partner.
They are, and they're all waiting to see the end of this game, and one side's going to be happy and one side's going to be pretty upset about the result because this rivalry means so much, and that bell, when it comes out, it's going to be pretty loud once it rings back and forth, and you know, we saw last year how much it meant, and it's going to be the same thing after this game as well.
Back to the ground this time, and Henderson plows ahead to the 38. You know, this game got moved to the first game of the season when A.L. Brown went back to 4A, but Concord has certainly had the advantage since the game has moved to the first game of the season. They're 4-1 in season opening games against A.L. Brown, with a lone loss coming at Kannapolis Memorial Stadium last year, 26-15. But Concord has still won 3 of the last 4 and lead the series 43-39 with 4 ties.
So, you know, it's interesting. We talked to Coach Newsome last year about that streak. How do you snap the streak, and what do you do to get back to winning this game? And, you know, he just talked to us about the whole offseason is really focusing on this game, preparing for this game, and explaining to your team the importance of what it means to win this game. And they're able to get it done, and they've got the bell right now, and they're trying to go for 2 in a row.
EJ. Nice defensive play there by Concord. Nemo Miller in on the stop, brings up 4th down, and now decision time for Coach Newsome. Looks like they're going to bring the punting team on here as Kevin Jacobs will be back to punt. Jacobs, 36 punts last year, averaged 36 yards per kick, a long of 49, and had 6 inside the 20. Gets off a booming kick. This one will trickle into the end zone, I believe, and ball will come out to the 20-yard line. First down for the Spiders.
First and 10 for the Spiders from their own 20.
Seeing Henderson get involved in the A.L. Brown offense, 31 yards on just 4 carries on that last drive. So now another weapon in that A.L. Brown backfield once they get the football back.
Yeah, and I think that was a smart play call there. Punting the ball, not trying to be risky, and flipping the field position, even though the ball went into the end zone. The ball's going to be on the 20 here. Still making the Spiders go 80 yards, plus the Wonders, you got an 8-point lead. Just playing the field position battle and playing the percentages here and really doing a good job of, with the right play calls, putting your team in a successful position.
Coach Pageant said of his team, we lost that big game experience from last year. These guys are getting a lot of experience now. Pass to the flats is caught as Bogner makes the catch, and he's hit behind the line of scrimmage. Will bring up 2nd down and long as once again Concord's offense is off schedule.
Well, you've got to beware if you're a receiver for the Spiders, because once you get that ball, these Wonders DBs are coming up firing at you, and they're laying hits down pretty hard down there. And there's been a couple hits on Nasruddin and there on Bogner where they've shot through there and laid a hit down that looked like it was pretty ferocious. So you got to make sure that you focus on the ball so you get it in your hands, but also protect that football.
From the pistol. Play action, pressure to the outside, caught as the catch made by Bogner across the 20, and will bring up 3rd down.
Number 6 made the stop on the play. Brandon Dry pick up on the play.
All right, Jay, 3rd down and about 7 here as we take one more look at the replay.
Yeah, and here, just again, the pressure of the Wonders. Good job, though, executing, getting out here. But another situation, 3rd down. I don't like the body language right now of the Spiders. They just don't look like they have any any energy in their step, and it kind of looks like another third down. They need to show more leadership out there and really show more fire when they're in the huddle.
Single coverage on Naslin Ardeen to pass. Pressure, and Larkins going down again. This is a A.L. Brown defense that last year, Jay, had 47 quarterback sacks. They have lived in the Concord backfield tonight.
Yeah, we talked about pregame about Coach Newsome losing all the experience on offense, but feeling like he had a great defense coming back, and boy, was he right. These guys are playing great, attacking the quarterback, and really doing a good job of pressure on that defensive line, getting into the backfield.
Already 4 sacks for this A.O. Brown defense tonight, down to 100 seconds to go in the third quarter. And a flag from the official on the near side as Landon Trott was ready to punt. And there's Rick St. George, our referee, who has been a busy man tonight. A legal substitution or legal participation called on A.O. Brown.
Yeah, just another penalty, and out here, and a little bit better than last year as far as the penalties go, but still something you do expect in this first game.
Trot to punt again. Did not punt at all last year for Concord and has not been called on a lot to punt tonight. Pressure coming. He just gets it away. And a short kick should be great field position for the Wonders as it's down at the 45-yard line.
Ball will be down by number 6 for the Spiders.
So A.L. Brown, a chance to go back to work offensively. If you're Mike Newsome, you had some success with Henderson. Does he get the football more on this drive?
Keep feeding the ball. No reason to stop, and why change things up when you've had success? Your offensive line is wearing down the D-line of the Spiders. You want to just keep running the ball. And also Williamson, don't forget about him. He's shown success running the ball outside of the perimeter as well.
From the 45. Wonders leading by 8. Play clock down to 15. On the reverse. Near side. Blockers. Flag is in as the carry went to Jaquarius Bost. But he will most likely have this run coming back for probably a holding penalty.
And if you're offensive lineman on those sweep runs where you're outside kind of one-on-one situations where it's very easy for the referees to see whether you're holding or not, you've got to make sure you keep your hands inside. And if you feel that defender's starting to pull away, you can't grab or hold on. You've got to let go because the referees are going to see that. So that's an easy call for them to make.
And Jay, this penalty happened 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So it's now going to be first down and 25.
Yeah, that's one of those penalties. That's not just a penalty. That's a bad penalty.
That's a drive changer.
Yeah, and especially for a team that doesn't throw the ball that well.
Trips to the top of your screen. Williamson on the bootleg. Has all day. And just going to try and tuck it and run and lose 2 more yards. It'll be 2nd and 27. Do you feel like Williamson maybe is not going through all his progressions right now?
Well, I think on that play, it's tough for him because he's a lefty and he's rolling out to his right, so he's going to have to flip his body to make the throw there. And that was a 2-man route. One man doing a deep out, the other one going deep. There's double cover, so not a lot of room for him to go because it was on the short side of the field where he's rolling out to his opposite side. So he was just kind of in a bad situation right there.
Man in motion on the jet sweep. They give it to him. I think it was more of an option play there. Boss gets the carry, and Naslin Ardeen pushes him out at around the 40-yard line. Gain of about 4 will still bring up third down and forever.
Well, we see the speed of Naslin Ardeen diagnosing the play, and that from his safety position. He's a big kid, 6'4", 6'5", but when you're that athletic, coming from 15 yards deep after you see the run, coming at his speed, that's an imposing force coming down if you've got the ball in your hand, seeing him. And with his speed, he can run sideline to sideline, get upfield very quickly.
Clock stops with 52 seconds left as Boss got out of bounds. This is an A.L. Brown team that was picked 4th in the conference preseason, but have won 10 or more games 3 times in the 5 years under Mike Newsome, a terrific head coach who's won 45 games in Kannapolis, won a couple state titles with Butler. 3rd and forever. They go deep, and it's incomplete. Looking for Shymir Scott over the middle, and a punting situation coming for the Wonders.
Well, that was a very dangerous play right there in the Spiders. Their cover 2 defense. That ball would have been on target. That would have been a lot of field up the middle to run and possibly pick up that first down. So they dodged a bullet right there, but still getting off the field. Important right here. Naslin Ardeen back here to get this punt and Coach Newsome, again, just playing conservatively here, and he's got the lead and letting his special teams try to help him out here and flipping the field.
This will come back, I imagine, as Naslin Ardeen makes the catch. There is a flag. Looked like the Wonders ran a couple of guys on there late, and perhaps did not get set.
Well, sometimes in early game substitutions, kind of tough to come by, and the communication on the sideline with this being a game-like situation, you really can't duplicate this in the preseason.
This is something that Coach Newsome talked to us about this week. It's a legal shift on A.L. Brown. Concord's going to back him up 5 yards, make him re-kick. But Coach Newsome talking to us this week, he said one of his big concerns, and it's probably a concern for most every coach, is it's week one. You're on a shorter week because you're playing on a Thursday. But you haven't had time this summer to work on your special teams. You've been so focused on putting in your offense and defensive schemes that special teams maybe gets neglected a little bit until this week, and now you're expecting these guys to go out and perform on a high level.
Yeah, I mean, poor special teams. That's the year that, okay, we'll do 10 minutes of that and an hour on offense. But really, Chris, like you said, that's the key in these type of ball games. It's just as important as offense or defense, because that's where you see turnovers happen. We've seen it happen in this game so far, and it's played a big part right here as well.
Bad snap. Kick is away. No flag for roughing the kicker, as Naslin Ardeen will field, and he's down at the 33. If you're sitting at home and wondering why in the world is there no flag for maybe running into the kicker, it's because he had dropped the ball. Then he becomes a runner because the ball was dropped.
And then you're allowed to blow up the kicker in that situation. I mean, really, as a punt rusher, you're taught, do not touch the kicker, try to get the ball off his toe. But as soon as it's fumbled, then he's a live man, and that's the biggest thing you want to do is try to get back there as quick as possible, get that ball or tackle him, because he's not used to getting hit being a punter.
Larkin Lancaster, Glenn Padgett chatting on the sideline. Coach Padgett probably not pleased with what he's seen overall tonight. A lot of teachable moments going into week 2 as Concord opens the season with 4 straight home games for the first time in their known history, which is over 100 years. Fakes the end around, goes to the second man through. That's Hall, and gets no gain.
Well, Chris, you talked about teachable mistakes and things not going their way, but you're really correct in that. There's so many mistakes that are going to get fixed throughout this season. Again, the first game, you come to expect that, especially in high school. But most times, whether it's college or pro, high school, the biggest improvement you'll see is from game 1 to 2. You see how these kids react in a game-like situation. And you can kind of use this as a teaching moment when you watch film this week, and they'll have an extra day to prepare for next week's game because today's only Thursday. So big fourth quarter coming up.
The Bell game comes down to 12 minutes. It's an 8-point game. What will happen in this chapter of the rivalry? We'll find out after this on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. Start the fourth quarter. It's Irby in the game at quarterback for Concord as that pass is incomplete. Went to the outside, and that'll bring up third down. Jay, interesting decision here by Coach Padgett to change quarterbacks and bring in Jacob Irby, the transfer, who just transferred in on Monday.
Well, and the thing about this situation is there's no really rhythm with him. There hasn't been a lot of practice time, and a talented player we know, but still only being here a couple days. It's a hard spot to put him in and really just learning the playbook. It's a tough, difficult position for the team. Came in for one play, now comes back out in the favor of Lancaster. More on Irby if he returns to the game. It's third down and 9. Play is perhaps botched as some miscommunication in the backfield and another sack. The 5th sack of the night for this A.L. Brown defense. That time it was Stephen Howie leading the defensive charge. When Howie explosive on that side of the ball and getting pressure. And here, nowhere to go. That ball fell on the ground. Luckily, it would have wrapped it up and hang on. 4th down and 17. Another punting situation for the Spiders. As it looks like it's Bogner who's back to punt now. Perhaps changing up the punter. That one rolls to him. Pressure. He's hit. And it'll be great field position for the Wonders. Well, and Chris, if the Wonders are able to win this game, it's really going to come down to special teams for them. They've made things happen. They've created turnovers, great field position for their offense, and their offense really wasn't doing that much in the first quarter other than one drive, but with these short fields, it's helped build their confidence, and it's easy to get 10 yards and go in the end zone. And here, another situation where it's a very short field.
Let's head down to the field and rejoin Chantel Jordan. Chantel?
Guys, I don't know who's working harder, these two football teams or their athletic trainers. There's so much cramping going on, even on the sidelines here. They're working 24/7, getting these guys stretched out, lots of water and Gatorade. So hopefully this isn't something that we see throughout the whole season. Hopefully it's just first game, getting all the jitters out and wiping all the dust off from the off season.
Yeah, I think so. I think once we get into the season, we'll probably see guys a little more hydrated. They'll get back to the conditioning. But, Jay, that was a third quarter that was dominated by the defenses. Concord just 42 total yards in that third quarter. A.L. Brown 48 total yards.
Well, I think that's something coming into the game we expected was the defense to be ahead of the offense. That's where the returning winners are from, and really the talent on both teams on that side of the ball. But anytime for any team, really, when you're coming into the preseason camp, the offense is always behind the defense. And why is that? It's because offensively, you've got to have a lot of execution. And again, you don't have that long to practice. It's all about rhythm and timing on offense, where defense is more see ball and get ball. When you've got the talent on that side, plus naturally you're ahead on the defensive side of the ball, that's why you see this game being dominated defensively.
How long does that gap last? When does the offense catch up?
Well, hopefully in college and pro, you can do that during training camp. But in high school, their training camp's 2 weeks.
Right.
So, I mean, really for me, I would say more second, third, fourth game of the year, even though that's the first quarter of the season, that's when you'll see the offense catch up.
Handoff around the edge. Flag is in. This one will go for a touchdown for A.L. Brown as Bost is into the end zone. But there are flags down, and I imagine this play might be coming back. There's an injured Spider down. Looks like he's cramping as well. Rick St. George has been a busy man tonight. It's an illegal motion called on A.L. Brown, so that'll back the Wonders up 5 yards. Tell you what, these cramps are no joke, though. I know that you probably cramped up during your playing career.
Yeah, cramps, they may not last that long, but for that 30 seconds to a minute, it's some of the most painful pain you'll feel because your body completely locks out, especially in the calves or the hamstrings. It's tough to come back for that.
How about in the second half, Jay? We talked about adjustments at halftime. One of the adjustments for Concord was going to be clean up some of the penalties. They've done that. No second half penalties for the Spiders, 5 for A.L. Brown.
Yeah, and I mean, that's something to continue to watch. But for the Spiders, this game's been even other than that special teams mishap right there. So when we talk about turnover, special teams, penalties, you may do well in one, but if you give up something on another area, it's just as bad. So the halftime adjustments, we've seen both teams make corrections, but still it comes down to 1 or 2 or 3 plays throughout the game that's going to change the course. And right now, it's still gone in the Wonders' direction.
Impressed with what you've seen from this A.L. Brown offense. Obviously, Butler going down was a big blow to what they had game planned for tonight, but since his injury, they've still been clicking and have found guys to put some positive plays out there.
Well, I think the biggest thing for them is on offense. They've been consistent. You haven't seen a lot of bad plays on offense. You've seen them kind of methodically move the ball down the field, but again, it's been helped by having short fields that goes their defense and special teams. And it's just something here where both of these teams, this is the pivotal part of the game, 11 minutes left, but for the Wonders, you want to score here, but also, too, you want to turn this clock and give this game continued short fields for them, but also use the clock to make this a shorter ball game for Concord to come back.
Looks like it's Irby there on the headset. By the way, make sure you follow us on Twitter at TWC Sports NCSC. A lot of great behind-the-scenes coverage of what's going on tonight and all season long. They go around the edge as they keep the ball on the ground, and no running room there for Bost. Will bring up second down to go for the Wonders.
And Chris, down in that Spider huddle right now on the defensive side, this is kind of a bleak situation here. You're down by 8, and the Wonders are on the doorstep of the end zone here trying to score. You've got to step up. This is where you need your big dogs to come and make a play, get a turnover, and get the ball back. This is where your leaders need to make something happen.
Straight up the middle. Legs are fighting for the Wonders, and that'll get them back to 3rd down and 10 or in that general vicinity there as Blake Boss got the carry again.
Chris, just kind of back to my previous point.
That was Henderson, by the way, on the carry.
Yeah, and still plenty of time left in this game, but you just kind of get the feeling the Wonders can score a touchdown here. The way the Spiders have moved the ball offensively, it's going to be tough for the Spiders to come back with their inefficiencies on offense.
Looking for Lewis Harris there, who had the touchdown catch in the first quarter. It's incomplete, and will bring up 4th down. And now if you're Coach Newsome, probably the easy call to go for the field goal as we go back to the pass from just a second ago.
And Williamson, great protection, just a little bit too far. Otherwise, that would have been an easy touchdown.
Gutierrez on to try the field goal. This will be his first attempt at a field goal in the varsity squad. 26-yard attempt from the left hash. Kick is on its way, and the kick is right down Broadway. 11-point lead for the Wonders with 10:03 to go.
You know, Chris, what a position to be in your first varsity experience. All these guys, they're having their first. It's not like they're playing, the easy cupcake schedule. They're playing in the biggest game of the season, one of the biggest games of their life. So it's a pressure-packed moment. It's great to see these kids excelling and making, their best happen out in the field, like a field goal right there by Gutierrez.
Both of these coaches called this game the Daytona 500 for these two programs. Like in NASCAR, the Daytona 500, the Super Bowl of stock car racing at the beginning of the season. This, in some ways, the Super Bowl for both of these teams. And if you're the coaches, if you win the game, that could springboard you to a great season. Look at what happened to A.L. Brown last year after they went 10-3. If you lose, tough to get your team back up off the mat. For Concord, didn't hurt them too bad last year as they went to the regional finals, going 13-2, losing to a really good Crest team that we saw in the championship.
Well, it just kind of puts your team in a bad mood if you lose this game, and you're in a great mood, but it's a building block, Chris, and you're right. And we talk about the importance of this game, the Super Bowl versus NASCAR. It's funny, they kind of equate it to the Daytona 500. I'm not really much of a NASCAR guy, so I call it the Super Bowl, but it shows you down here in Concord, right near the Speedway, this is kind of the hotbed for NASCAR. And the coaches, this area, and the players, this is right near one of the biggest races of the year.
Kind of crunch time here for Concord offensively, down by 11. Certainly need points on this drive, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, they need points, and they need to move at a different pace. They've kind of been playing slow, methodically all game. They need to change things up, and whether that's going no huddle or just playing faster, they need to get something going and get a spark going on the offense.
Do you bring Irby in at quarterback?
You know what, I wouldn't. I'd keep him on the sideline and roll with what you've got, because it's going to be hard with the playbook and just the not having the communication, not having the relationship with him that long other than a few days. Is going to be hard to kind of get in sync with the new quarterback.
Justin Nicholson, nice return, fighting out across the 25-yard line. And it looks like it will be Irby who will come out, as Nicholson has done a nice job of the return game tonight for Concord, slapping hands with teammates as he comes off the field. And there is Jacob Irby, the Mount Pleasant transfer to Concord on Monday. A season ago from Mount Pleasant, over 1,300 passing yards, 11 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and Concord his third school in 3 years. Started at Cox Mill, then at Mount Pleasant, now at Concord for the third time in 3 years. On the bootleg, flips it downfield, and the pass is incomplete. And it's interesting that the other backup quarterback was Justin Smith, as a flag comes in, was an East Rowan transfer. He's now transferred back to East Rowan. So everyone back almost where they started.
A lot of moving parts, and a lot of moving going on. But it's interesting with Irby in the game, if you're a defender for the Wonders, you have to recognize the talents and the different kind of things he brings to the table. He's a taller kid, more of a drop back passer, not as mobile, but also too, he's got a strong arm, so you've got to be careful if you're a secondary player, because you've got to respect that strong arm.
Pass interference was called on A.L. Brown. That'll be the 6th infraction on the Wonders here in the second half. You mentioned a taller kid, maybe more physical, 6'5", 210. Threw 4 touchdown passes in the Mount Pleasant scrimmage against Anson County a week ago tomorrow. So certainly has some pedigree with his dad playing in this rivalry, being a star for Concord back in the 80s, and trying to help engineer a Concord comeback, as timeout, I believe, is called by the Spiders. Let's wait and see. Nope, I think we just had an issue with the chains. We did. So now we're set to go. A lot on the line here tonight. Certainly bragging rights, the bell, what have you. Also on the line, 19 straight home victories for Concord. Last loss came in 2012 in the regular season. Deep ball down the field, incomplete. Looking for Bogner, who had a step on his man. Just too much air underneath that one. A timing issue, maybe?
Well, it's going to be a timing issue, yeah, and just getting in sync, but you can see the strength of that arm and how easy that was. Even though the snap wasn't clean there, just a flick of the wrist and a little bit too long. Otherwise, that would have been an easy touchdown if they could have completed that.
So Bogner slapping his hands there. But now an interesting decision, Jay, is Larkin Lancaster is now back in the game at quarterback.
Yeah, and in this situation, you would think that the Spiders would go with the strong arm passing ability of Irby, but trying to mix things up by switching the quarterbacks.
Lancaster down the field, intercepted. Brandon Dry comes down with the pick. Another huge turnover forced by the Brown defense. Turnovers. Dry coming up with the play. And now for Coach Newsome and his team. Again, the defense excelling, giving the ball back to your offense in a tough play there, rolling out to the left, having to throw across your body. And the corner route there and Dry just read it all the way. But now for the Wonders, you're in a great position here, 2-possession game with the ball. What do? You run the ball continuously and try to run it down the throat of the Spiders to keep this clock moving. But again, later in this game, who's the fresher team? You want to try to run the ball straight at them. Fumble, flag is down, and I think the Wonders fell on it. Perhaps some motion up front, Jay. We'll wait and see what the flag is all about. Game has certainly methodical pace with the penalties here in this second half. Another look at the replay. Look, he was trying to pitch the ball and nobody was there. Just an ill-advised snap. The pitch man was absent. Rick St. George looking on. And I think Concord's going to decline this illegal shift penalty. It'll be second down. That's the best of both worlds for Coach Padgett. It's second down, but it's second down and behind the chains. Exactly, and the clock is stopped right now. But again, for the Wonders, no penalties, just run the ball. The clock is continuing to churn. But when you stop it, it's playing right in the Spiders' hand, and they want to get a couple stops here and get the ball back to the offense. They're going to add some time back to the clock here as the clock continued to run after the play was blown dead. So the clock back to 9:25. So a few extra seconds for this Concord defense facing a second down. Clock moves now inside of 9 minutes and 20 seconds. Boston in motion. Handoff comes near side as they give it to Scott. And Scott throwing under. That'll bring up third down. Well, and Chris, whether Scott tried to or not, he stayed in bounds, which is huge. Yep. The clock's moving, and that's going to help out the Wonders' cause that much more because they can let that clock bleed. And third down here, again, with the team, even though it's long, third and long here, you've had success on the ground. No reason to throw the ball right now. 3rd and 9, inside of 9 minutes for the ball game. Scott in motion, gets it on the end around, trying to bounce it outside, but an ankle tackle made nicely there by one of the defenders for Concord. It was Rocco D'Souza, the 6'1 junior, up from his safety position. Brings up 4th down, and I think Coach Newsome is content to play the field position game here up by 2 scores. Well, if you're the Wonders right now with the run right here, conservative play call, you want to move as slow as possible. If you're on the field, this is the time where you don't want to play fast. And for the Spiders, you're going to have to play fast to get back in this game. Jacobs to punt. A booming kick. Nicholson fields it on a hop. Has an angle possibly up the numbers. Still on his feet and reverses field. Big play here for the Spiders. Nobody's going to catch it. Touchdown, Spiders. No flags. Great day in the morning. I think the momentum is on the Concord side.
I think it just switched sidelines, and it was all because of special teams. A great punt right there, but it was almost out-kicking the coverage. Nicholson right here playing it off the hop. Very dangerous because that would have bounced away. That would have been an even deeper punt, but lucky to bounce right to him. Then switching sides of the field. All the blockers for the Spiders let their guy go through, and when Nicholson made them miss, it was all his teammates right in front of him. Really no wonders there to even be blocked. It was just an easy touchdown once he got through that first wave, and now the complexion of this game has changed. And it's all because of that third phase, Chris, and if the Wonders could have stopped him there for a short gain and made him go the full field, use more time, this would be completely different. But now the momentum shifted here, and now you can see the extra kind of energy growing for the Spiders.
82-yard punt return for a touchdown. Concord's going to go for 2. Play clock at 2. Play clock at 1. They're not going to get it off. That's a delay of game penalty. And I think that probably goes back to the coaching staff here. They huddled a long time. They didn't break the huddle with Coach Padgett until there was almost 15 seconds left on that play clock.
Well, yeah, and confusion celebrating also, and there's going to be a timeout called. So huge play. They're going to save the field position on this 2-point conversion without the penalty, but they're going to have to lose a timeout in the process.
And they've only got one timeout left for the final 7.5 minutes. There's Nicholson. And Jay, if somehow the Spiders are able to come back and win this game, Nicholson may not have to buy lunch at school for the first 2 weeks.
He's going to get a game ball if they come back and win. That's a given. But that's what you need. You need somebody to make a play, an explosive play. Nothing was really going right for the Spiders, but that's what you need, someone to step up at the perfect time. He made that happen.
It's been defense and special teams that have scored tonight for Concord. 1 on defense, now 1 on special teams. Spiders are hoping to get the offense in gear. What's the old saying? Doesn't matter if you win pretty or ugly, a win is a win, right?
Yeah.
Down by 3, a chance to make it, or down by more than that, a chance to cut into the lead. Play action. Fires to the end zone, incomplete. And now Concord 0 for 2 on 2-point conversions. That would have made it a 3-point game.
Well, here you're unable to execute twice, and that's huge. But now in this situation, if you get a stop, get a touchdown, you're going to be able to win this game. Here trying to throw the corner route, kind of lob it up. But it's just a little bit too far, close to the edge of the sideline there, and not enough room. And good defense by the Wonders.
Looking for Icahn Hall there. Obviously, hindsight being 20/20, and it's easy for you and I to sit up here and second guess. But
we're allowed to do that.
We are. But if you take the 2 extra points, it's now a 24-21 game.
Yeah, and that's something where you've got to know going into a game, if you play with that risk and you don't get it, you've got to have confidence that your offense can come back. And surprisingly, I thought the Spiders would be a little better offensively, but tonight it just hasn't been there.
One more look at the Nicholson touchdown. Right here when he reversed his fields, Jay, could get in a lot of trouble right there, but no block in the backs. Nice job of that special teams.
It's kind of interesting because we see Nicholson make outstanding play. And for the Spiders in their film session, he's going to be highlighted for his effort, his vision, and crossing the field. But for the Wonders, I have a feeling Coach Newsom is not going to be happy, because I've been in film sessions where people have been getting in trouble, and I have a feeling he's going to yell at some of those guys for their missed tackles, because there's about 4 or 5 missed tackles that could have easily been made, but Nicholson was able to shift out of those.
If you're on the Concord sideline, it was probably no, 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 yes, 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 go, go, go. Big kickoff here as Trott, short kickoff, fair catch called for and made at the 31 by Rogers. You know, that's an interesting decision. We've seen Concord short kick it a couple of times, and you don't want to kick it to the explosive guys back there, but man, you give up so much field position by doing that.
I don't know why they're picking on Rogers over there. He's doing a great job catching the ball, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword. You're kicking it there hoping for possibly a turnover to a guy that's not used to catching and carrying the ball. But again, if he does, this is great field position for the Wonders. Now, you know, the clock is coming back into play still. You want to be able to run the ball, but I think you can take your time here with the lead and your ability to have production running the ball down the throat of the defensive line. I think they're just going to go back to their bread and butter and continue to do that.
Only one timeout left for Concord. They're going to add more time to the clock. Right now, clock has run a little bit extra, and they're talking with the folks upstairs. 7:44 is on the scoreboard clock. Maybe the clock, they want the clock to wind. So I think they want it down to maybe like 7.5 minutes. And they stop it right there at 7:34. So 7:34 left. Our bug was right. Lauren Hemingway in the truck. Spot on. As always.
Great job, Lauren.
Back to the ground go the Wonders. And not much doing as he is stonewalled and pushed back. It was Henderson who got the carry, lost his lid. He's now got to come off for one play.
That's an interesting rule, and you've seen it the past couple of years now with the rule changes. The helmet falls off, you've got to go out. And in critical situations, I know some players don't like that because it could be a pivotal part of the ballgame. Your helmet falls off, you've got to come out, but still, it's all about safety of the players and this new day and age of safety being first. It's all about making sure guys are okay once they get to the sideline because you don't want anybody to get hit.
But if your helmet is ripped off by a defender, you're allowed to stay on. So there is some clarification. Approaching the 7-minute mark. Handoff goes around the left side. And not much running there for Boss. One of our officials goes down. Stays in bounds. A positive play there for the Wonders, but it brings up third down. And if Concord can get a 3 and out here, you have to feel like all the momentum is now on the home side.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is where you need your defense, the strength of your team to step up. See the big guys getting pressure up there. But you figure this is going to probably be a running situation. If a passing play is called, it's getting Williamson on the edges. So you've got to have that in your mindset if you're a defender. Nazrul Nardine, the quarterback of this defense, he's the guy to really watch to see his focus and how he recognizes this play called by the Wonders.
Naslin Nardine back there in the safety position. Nobody behind him. He's the last line of defense. From the shotgun, third down and long. They're going to pass. Williamson down the field. It's caught. First down and more. Shamir Scott has a first down at the red zone. It was Lewis Harris, I beg your pardon, who made the catch. A 44-yard gain.
Number 18 made the stop on the play for the Spiders.
And it's now first down for A.L. Brown, and just when the Wanderers needed an explosive play, they got it.
Well, Chris, that play call was called earlier in the game on that post route. That was just a little bit thrown too far, but there, what an outstanding recognition by Coach Newsome, calling that with the fake there. Naslin Nardine went up for the run play, and then Williams threw it right over the head to Harris on the post route. Naslin Nardine's head, and a huge gain, and that's going to change the field position, change the momentum here, and now with the running game going back here on first down, just a good job of running the clock and getting positive yards.
Stephen Howie there on the carry got 9 yards. Naslin Nardine on the stop. It's now 2nd and 1, and if you're A.L. Brown, you can now bleed the clock almost into your 4-minute offense here with 5.5 to go. And remember, Concord only has one more timeout. Bad snap. And still loose. Spiders, I think, have it. Talk about coachable moments. That's one there. If you're Williamson, following the football, take your losses, live to fight another day. But another huge turnover gives Concord life.
Well, I think no matter who wins this game, both coaches are going to have a lot of teaching moments. And here, it's the unforced turnover that you cannot have. And it really goes to show you can't ever give up, no matter how bleak or bad the situation looks, because all it takes is one play to change and turn things around. And now for Concord, you've got the ball on your home field down by 5 points. You're in a pretty good position if you get this drive going and execute on offense to get the lead here, Chris.
J.D. Miller came up with the fumble. Irby comes back in at quarterback, and Concord's going to have to burn their final timeout. No more timeouts for the... And Jay, I've got a feeling that might come back to play a role in the latter part of this game.
Yeah, and you
5:18 left. No more timeouts for the Spiders. And Jay, I've got a feeling that might come back to play a role in the latter part of this game.
Yeah, and you want to have timeouts in your pocket in the most critical moments. Timeout, then it's going to be tough if you need to stop the clock or you have a pivotal point where you need to regroup and get your team to the sideline. And here, during this timeout, you've really got to regroup your team, get them to focus on the execution side. And we've seen Irby's arm strength here, and I wouldn't be surprised if they take a shot down the field on one of these first couple downs.
Well, Irby 0 for 3 tonight passing, only come in for 3 plays, whereas Lancaster 14 of 23, 159 yards, a touchdown and an interception.
And Chris, if you're the Wonders right here, there's still a threat of the run with the Spiders, but I don't think Irby's in the game to run the ball.
Almost intercepted.
He's in the game to throw the ball like that play right there.
Wise came up and batted the ball away as Campbell, the intended target.
And Chris, we've seen both quarterbacks, they're rolling to the opposite side of their throwing motion. And what I mean is Irby's a right-handed quarterback. He's rolling to the left, which isn't that not uncommon, but it's just a tougher throw to make and tougher throw to execute, especially in this first game with new receivers and new quarterbacks.
Why do you think Concord is just bringing Irby in for one play, then going back to Lancaster as they are now?
I think really in this situation, if they're switching quarterbacks, it's probably because it's going to be a run play. But that's the only thing I could say, but they're going to throw it here.
A draw, and Lancaster fumbled the ball. But I think the Spiders fell on it. Let's wait and see. And they did. It'll be third down. Now inside of 5 minutes, Jay, and third down and long. Looks like Irby might be coming in for perhaps another passing play.
Well, and this is a situation, Chris. You've got to get the ball to 5, Hall, or 2, Nazil Nardine. Those guys really haven't been stopped once they get the ball in their hands, but they haven't been able to find them consistently.
But don't you think that maybe Kannapolis Brown is aware of that? They're trying to jam those 2 guys, perhaps leaving a guy like Campbell open?
Well, they are, but that's why you've got to recognize, because they can't both be triple teams. One of those guys is going to be open. That's where you've got to recognize where the coverage is, scan the field, and find the guy that has the mismatch.
Play clock at 2, third and 11. And timeout by Kannapolis Brown, beg your pardon. Well, that's an interesting call by Coach Newsom. Obviously didn't see that his defense was set, but the play clock was at 2 seconds, so almost got the delay of game penalty. That'll leave A.L. Brown with 2 timeouts left.
Well, Chris, in this situation for A.L. Brown, you want to be aggressive on the defensive line, possibly put a blitz in play here to get pressure on the quarterback. But you've got to tell your secondary, hey, guys, listen, it's third and long. Play the sticks. Know that they're going to try to throw the ball deep. You cannot let a big play happen here. You've got to keep everything in front of you and try to make the Spiders beat you slowly down the field. You just do not want Nazil Nardine or one of the other explosive plays to happen and to get big chunks of yards on one play.
All right, Jay, take me inside the Concord huddle. Third and 11, down 24-19.
Well, Coach Padgett's, first of all, telling his offensive line, I need protection. And then we've seen him on third and fourth down. A lot of times he's gone to faking the ball to the right and then the screen back to the left or some sort of misdirection play. So I think that's what he's going to do here. But he's telling his team, his offensive line, to protect, and then also, too, Irby in there to make sure he scans the field and to find the open receiver to give his receiver a chance.
Man in motion, that's Campbell. Wonders show blitz. There's a flag, and I think A.L. Brown broke the line early. And that'll still be third and long, but now third and more manageable.
Yeah, and Coach Newsom's got to be furious over there at his team. It looked like they're going to bring the blitz, and that's why they jumped off sides, but giving easy yards to their opponent. It's much different being third and 11 compared to third and 6 because your playbook opens up and now you don't have to throw a long bomb to pick up the play. You can throw a roll out here, a 7-yard out, and it's much more easy, and it gives your offensive line time to protect the quarterback, Irby.
7 penalties this half on A.L. Brown, 11 penalties for the contest. Third down and 6. Campbell in motion to the opposite side. They might have jumped again, no flag. Irby flips it, and it's incomplete. We'll bring up 4th down. Concord pleading for an offside play as they went back to the screen that's worked well for them at times tonight.
Yeah, and that's what they wanted to do, was to bait the defensive linemen, then throw the screen over their head. But depending on whose side and who you agree with, they're the Concord side. Thought it was another offside. The Wonders did get a good jump there and made it tough on that screen. But here now, interesting situation, possibly going for it on 4th down, Chris.
Well, the officials are going to talk, and what's the call here? Let's take one more look, partner.
Yeah, that was an offside.
Yep.
I would agree with the Spiders on that one.
Too. 4:10 to go. 4th down and 6. Huge spot in the ball game. No timeouts for Concord. Calling for the snap, and there's movement up front. And this one will go on Hollis Miller playing outside. Miller, the culpable party on that infraction. And now from 4th and 6 back to 4th and 11.
Well, that looks like it's going to change the mindset of Coach Padgett and possibly bring in the punting unit here. Rotation of players, and it's what it's going to be, Chris, a punt.
Now, if you're A.L. Brown, 4:14 left, no timeouts for Concord, you can almost try and bleed the clock here with maybe 2 first downs, right?
Yeah, well, the biggest key on this punt is to be punt safe, not let a fake happen, and then protect this football, because you're going to be in the driver's seat if you just hold on to the ball and don't give it up to the Spiders.
Caught at the 35, and running room here for Dry. Runs into his own man, and good field position for the Wonders. And there is a flag, Jay, back around the 39-yard line of the Wonders, or the Spiders, beg your pardon. Here's the report.
Yeah, tackled by his own man.
Yeah, no doubt. It's offsetting penalties. False start called against the Spiders. Holding caught against the Wonders. Offsetting penalties, so we will play it from the spot.
Well, and here, Chris, 4:02 on the clock. Yeah, we always talk about 2-minute drills and the end of the game, but these teams practice the 4-minute offense, and that is really an offense where you're playing at a slow pace. You're not trying to rush, but you're trying to use this clock and protect it. And here, without timeouts for the Spiders, that's a huge part, because they're not going to be able to stop this clock. So I'd expect a healthy diet of running plays by the Wonders.
Now they do start on the ground, and now inside of 4 minutes for the contest as Henderson gets the call, gets a couple of yards. I don't think you're going to see A.L. Brown be in too big a hurry to run these plays.
No, and if you're in that huddle for the Wonders, if I'm an offensive lineman, I've been up there battling all night, I'm telling the running backs and quarterbacks, hold on to the ball. Do not let it go of it, because that's the prized possession. And if you're a Concord right now, you've got to step up and try to strip it, gang tackle, do anything to knock that ball or jolt it out to try to make a play happen here. But most importantly, you need to get a stop here and force the Wonders to punt the ball and hope that there's enough time left on the clock.
And flags are down. Coach Newsom comes in on the top of your screen, stalking toward his huddle. And A.L. Brown going to call a timeout. That will leave the Wonders with just 1 timeout left. Screen, 1 timeout for A.L. Brown. No timeouts for Concord. This certainly behooves the Spiders with 3:23 left.
Well, I think that's a reason why Coach Newsom's pretty upset with his team out there, because he did not want to use that timeout, but still a good job of recognizing that his team was in trouble there, stopping the clock to make sure they're under control and know what they're doing here going into this next snap.
Wonders are 3 minutes and 23 seconds away from snapping the 19-game home winning streak for regular season home winning streak for Concord. They lost their last game at home last year in the regional final, but have won 19 straight regular season home games dating back to October 19th of 2012. 2nd down, 7. Handoff going to the outside, and it's Bost who gets positive yards and will bring up 3rd down, but did get out of bounds, so not a very smart play there running to that side.
Well, and that's something that Coach Newsom, I'm sure, was telling his team. during the timeout is to stay in bounds, and you always want to pick up those extra yards, but a coaching point here, the yards don't matter, the clock does, and you're working into the hands of the defense for the Spiders right there going out of bounds. And a third down situation here. If you don't pick this up, Spiders are still going to have enough time for one more drive, Chris.
Third and about 7 here. Do you go to the air or stick to the ground?
I'd stay on the ground. I'd stay on the ground. You've had success there, but especially, too, to keep the clock moving.
They will throw. Pressure. Williamson is still flushed, and he's going down. Huge sack for the Spider defense. Getting in there defensively was a smorgasbord of players, but L.J. Curry led the charge. And now fourth down coming up with under 3 minutes left.
Well, just a great job getting pressure. I'm surprised they threw it there, Chris. But for the Wonders, the one positive is Williamson went down inbounds, and the clock is moving now. About 2:45 left on the clock with the clock ticking away here. So even though the field position battle is going to go in the favor here of the Spiders with the lost yards by the Wonders, the clock's still moving, and that's their best friend right now.
Nicholson has already made one huge special teams play. Snap comes, kick is away. Nicholson will watch this one bounce a couple of times and be rolling, and now dead at the 17-yard line. 2 minutes, 15 seconds left. Spiders down 24-19.
Well, and Chris, on that punt right there, one thing coaches try to teach is for Nicholson to go and pick up that ball so it didn't roll on the ground, because they lost about 5 seconds there.
And it will be Irby who comes back in at quarterback. Remember, Concord does not have an offensive touchdown in the game yet this evening.
What a great time to have one
No
here on the
doubt.
last drive. But what a spot here. The pressure in this game, the new transfer in here, Irby has a chance to kind of get the offense on track, and what a perfect time to get a touchdown here to put your team ahead.
Pressure, flipping it downfield, got a man, incomplete, flag, pass interference. Was looking for Bogner over the middle, feet got tangled up, and the Spiders have some life.
Well, living dangerously, the Wonders are playing one-on-one coverage, and a big play right there, even though it's overthrown as a penalty. That would have been completed. That could have been a touchdown, because one-on-one coverage, a blitz coming here, and really just letting a big play possibly happen if you get beat.
We'll move the football up for Concord. There's a timeout for an injured player. If Irby remains your quarterback, and that's sort of been the MO for Concord here in the second half, use both guys, would you not think that maybe a run could certainly shake up the defense for A.L. Brown if Irby gave it to Hall, who's really been non-existent over the last several moments?
This is what I would do, Chris.
Okay.
If
you were coaching Concord.
If I was the offensive coordinator, I would take a shot with Nazil Nardine down the field. If you don't get that, I would get in the shotgun formation, look like you're going to throw it deep to him again, hand the ball off in a draw to Hall, and let him run, because there's going to be open lanes, because they know you've got to throw the ball right now. That's going to be a quick changeup, and who better to give it to than Hall?
Had a good night so far this evening, has Hall. Some explosive plays. But boy, I tell you what, every single year this rivalry lives up to the hype, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and you can see the intensity on the players out there. They're playing so hard, and, we talked about the cramps being hot. Well, a lot of that, too, is because they're playing their hearts out there, and you can see how fast and physical they're playing with the importance of this game. A full house here at this stadium, a great atmosphere, and it's all coming down the wire just like we predicted.
5-point game. Still nursing out some of the cramps as families from both communities are out tonight. So thankful for Concord and A.L. Brown allowing us to come in and kick off our season with North Carolina's oldest rivalry. Not a better way to start the high school football season than with this game.
No, we've been looking forward to this game and this season for so long now, and it's just a great
December.
spot. Since December, yeah. We didn't want an off season.
We didn't.
We want to be year-round, and great game here tonight.
1st and 10. Ball on the 32-yard line for Concord. Snap to Irby. Pressure. Deep ball again. Near side. Campbell couldn't make the catch. No flags. 2nd and 10.
Again, not sure what the Wonder secondary is doing, because they're letting the receivers for the Spiders get behind them. Impressive throw, but just not able to execute. And, again, it's tough. These guys have only practiced for a few days, and probably they don't even know each other's names because they're so new. But It's a dangerous play by the Wonders, giving up room with the long pass.
Interesting decision here to bring Lancaster back in on 2nd and 10. He's going to throw to the outside. Naslin Ardeen has it and tries to get out of bounds and does. Clock stops with 1:58 left, brings up 3rd down and medium. All right, obviously 4-down territory here for Concord, so do you give the ball to Hall here and let him try to run?
Yeah, in this situation, I would. I probably would have done it on the last play just to mix in that run, but I think you've got to give it to him, possibly on a screen play here, use the aggressiveness of that defensive line against them, and try to get the ball to one of the playmakers.
Naslin Ardeen makes the catch near the chains, and they're going to say incomplete, calling him out of bounds. Saying he caught the ball out of bounds. That'll bring up 4th down. The head linesman right on top of it, Rusty Clark, making the call. One more look, Jay, and good call.
Well, and Chris, this is probably the game right here. 4th down and 5. If you don't execute, ball's going to go back to the Wonders, and this game's probably going to be over with because they can take a knee with no timeouts for the Spiders.
Irby comes in. Play clock is running now inside of 10 seconds. 5, 4 on the play clock. Irby with 3, 2, 1. They just get it off. Pressure. Irby over the middle. Sliding attempt. It is caught. 1st down as the catch made by Bogner. Drive alive. That's the first completion of the game for Irby. And it comes at a crucial time.
Yeah, performing under pressure. You could see everyone holding their breaths in the stadium. Just a great job.
To the outside again. Naslin Ardeen bobbled it and out of bounds again. Bring up 2nd down. 95 seconds remaining.
Apparently incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 10 from the 43.
2nd and 10, Jay.
And here, I think with the play calling, it's going to be passes all the way down. And at this point, 134, you've got enough time, but I think you've got to take a shot down the field again.
3-step drop to the outside, incomplete. Naslin Ardeen skying for it, and a flag. Oh, a late flag could extend the drive for the Spiders.
Well, I can just feel the nerves in this stadium on both sidelines. Concord is hoping they can continue to convert down the field. And the Wonders trying to hold on, but a flag right there, a tough spot. They're going to give free yardage here to the Spiders.
Officials are conferring they could wave it off. We've seen them wave off a couple of flags tonight. Rick St. George asking if you're sure. And they're going to wave it off.
Flag is waved off by the official. It'll be 3rd and 10 from the 43.
One more look. Good no call there, Jay.
Yeah. Well, especially in this situation, you want to let the players play it out in the field and not to have a penalty impact the field position.
3rd and 10. Screen pass is caught, bobbled, intercepted, picked off by Howie. Game changer! Exclamation point for the Wonders. Late flag flew in for the celebration, but Stephen Howie with the biggest play of the game. He will seal the deal and keep the bell in Kannapolis most likely.
Well, stepping up, it was a screen play right here. You see the defensive lineman getting in the backfield because the O-line gave him that pause, let him go. But Howie recognizing, diagnosing that play, just ripping it away from Hall. He was zigging and zagging back and forth. Irby doing a nice job of trying to slow him down, but just enough momentum to fall forward, get in the end zone by Howie, and going to lock up the bell again for A.L. Brown.
They'll be ringing the bell all night long in Kannapolis as the infraction will be enforced, I believe, on the kickoff. Howie, a guy who last season as a junior, Jay, 65 tackles, no interceptions. but has maybe the biggest interception of his career here tonight.
What a way to start off your senior season, getting a big one to finalize this game. And we talked about big plays here or there. We've seen special teams turnovers, but the biggest turnover all just happened.
They tried to block the kick, and the kick is no good. There's a flag, and that's going to be unsportsmanlike conduct, I believe, on Naslin Ardeen. He tried to jump over the center to block it. That's illegal. He can't do that.
But with his vertical,
Why not?
he can. Yeah, he's one guy that probably could jump over any offense or defensive lineman to make something happen on a block kick.
You know, we talked earlier about Nicholson not paying for lunch for a while. I don't think Howie will have to pay for lunch in the cafeteria for like a month.
He may be good for the year.
He might be. They'll retry the
It's a reward for playing well in this game. Free food for a year.
From your classmates.
I'm all in.
If you were his teammate, you'd buy him
Oh my
lunch.
God, I'd be blocking kicks, scoring every touchdown there is.
Gutierrez will try the extra point again from a little bit closer. We talked about it throughout the course of the game, as the extra point is good. Hall tried to use one of his teammates back to climb the back. He couldn't. The kick is good. It's 31-19. Let's take one more look at the interception. And what an athletic play by Howie with the hand-eye coordination off the bobble.
Well, yeah, and just recognizing the play, seeing the play develop, then attacking the ball and Hall getting it away from him, then the ability to not just be happy with the interception, going and scoring, finishing up this game in style and celebrating with your teammates. And Irby kind of got caught down there in the pile of the wonders.
And now I imagine the conversation in both huddles is, hey, play smart. Don't do anything silly. Let's make sure we keep the integrity of this rivalry intact.
Yeah, well, sportsmanship is key in this situation. Not good for the Spiders and looking great for the Wonders. You just want to finalize this game in class, in style, on both sides. You don't want to be too cocky if you're the Wonders. And for the Spiders, you don't want to do a bonehead mistake to show off your anger, because this is disappointing, the outcome that's going to happen. But again, whether win or lose, you have to have class.
They mark off the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against A.L. Brown after the interception. And it'll be Gutierrez who will kick off from the 25. Partner, I think this game has been everything we expected and maybe a little bit more.
Well, you know what? We've had excitement, we've had emotion, we've had really everything you could ask for in a game, back and forth play, and really both sides playing to the best of their ability, playing hard. That's all you can ask for. Have there been mistakes? Yeah, but the rivalry and the intensity is really unmatched, and the season's starting off in a great way, Chris.
Naslin Ardeen is back deep. Concord spreads out some of their playmakers all around the field. Nicholson is actually up a little bit, as there's a good look at Naslin Ardeen, the deep man. It is a short kickoff and fielded by Nicholson, who's trying to pick a hole, cutting it outside. Can he make another tremendous special teams play? He cannot. Down in the 35. 1:03 left.
Well, what do you do here for the Spiders? You got to throw the ball deep, try to make a big play happen here. A little over 1 minute on the clock, 1:03. If you can get a touchdown quickly, possibly an onside kick, still have a chance. But Nicholson here trying to do his best to get another return on special teams, but good job by the Wonders bottling him up and sealing the edges so there's nowhere for him to run.
Flag judge, perhaps an illegal substitution. We'll wait and see. Jay, for an A.L. Brown team that plays in such a difficult conference with the likes of Mallard Creek, we've documented how good they are. Huff, who won the conference a season ago. Vance is going to be much improved. North Meck was good last year as well. How important is this for their momentum to get a win in this kind of game against your arch nemesis? Could that propel them to another 10-win season?
I mean, I really can't talk about how important it is, because this game can catapult you, especially in that conference. It's going to be tough to win all those games, so you've got to win your non-conference games, especially against your rival. But what it really does is it builds confidence. confidence. Your whole community's behind you, and your team, all those young players, to step in this environment on the road and come away with a victory. It really just shows that you can win in any environment if you can win here against your rival in this type of battle, and it helps your players grow up very quickly. And they're going to be battle tested because many of these teams are going to have cupcake schedules to start the season. This is one of the best games of the year that they're already going to have under their belt.
A.L. Brown fans standing and making the most noise they've made all night. It's Lancaster back in at quarterback as that pass to the outside is complete to Bogner and gets a first down up to midfield. Clock will stop to move the chains with 1 minute left.
Well,
one more look.
Yeah, and Chris, you always hear about the prevent defense in college and pro, but really this is the time when you need it because you want to keep your defenders back, not give up any big plays, keep everything in front of you, and let Concord just continue to run plays because there's less than a minute on the clock.
Another sack for this A.L. Brown defense. They have been in the backfield all night long. C.C. Huntley makes the sack, had 1 sack last year, the 5'11 junior. And that'll bring up 2nd down and 18 as we're ticking inside the final half minute.
Defensive line, it's so easy to rush the quarterback when you know it's a passing situation. It puts the offensive line in a tough position having to hold up.
Irby to the outside, caught by Hall, and out across midfield, gets out of bounds with 18 seconds left. Ikem Hall, the sophomore, Jay, I think he can be a big weapon for this Concord offense.
Well, young player, we've seen his explosive ability throughout this game, and he's going to have to be another weapon on the outside once he gets in rhythm with these quarterbacks. Still a lot of shifting guys back at that position, but they'll get into rhythm as the season goes on, and look for him to have a huge year.
Irby, far side, pass is bobbled, caught as Bogner looked like made the catch, and that should do it. Inside of 10 seconds, you can hear the cheers from the Brown sideline. And that is all. The bell remains in Kannapolis. Mike Newsom wins his 2nd straight bell game. It's now 3-3 all time against the Spiders. And against all odds, losing the quarterback and facing a furious Concord rally, the Wonders hold on thanks to that terrific defense.
Well, and they deserve to have that excitement because they played an outstanding ball game with their effort, not giving up. When things went against them, they found a way to make a big play happen on special teams and defense. And really, they played a full 48 minutes here. Capping it off was that last interception to seal the deal. And having the bell 2 years in a row is a special accomplishment for him. And Concord has had such an outstanding history in this game. And great ball game, great effort tonight, Chris.
We'll take a timeout and come back and begin to wrap things up right after this on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. Party just starting in Kannapolis tonight. They're going to ring that bell tonight, and Jay, probably all week long, all fall long, until these teams meet up again next year.
When you see the elation and the joy over on that sideline, and they deserve it, and what an outstanding effort to get that victory, and they're going to remember this for the rest of their lives.
Let's go down to the field. Chantel Jordan standing by with the victorious head coach. Chantel.
Coach Newsom, Stephen Howie with the game-changing touchdown. What did that moment mean to this team?
Well, Stephen Howie is a game changer, and we just needed a big play like that. After suffering the big loss at our quarterback position with Cordarius Butler going down, we needed guys to step up, make big plays, and Stephen's a guy we're going to depend on to make those plays all year long. I knew we'd be ringing the bell once he made that play, so it's pretty exciting.
That's great. And before the game, we had spoken, and you said that you want your team to stay consistent all season, and you don't want them to focus on this win. You want them to come out and want to win every single week. How do you maintain this level?
Well, first thing we got to do is get over the loss of our starting quarterback, and he's going to be out for some time, and we got to fix that, and we just can't get any more injuries, and we got to just play each and every week as tough as we played this one.
Best of luck the rest of the way.
Thank you, guys.
Guys, the bell is going back with Kannapolis, and clearly they could not be happier.
Chantel, thanks a lot. Mike Newsom will go over and celebrate with his team, Jay Sonhalter. Certainly some question marks going forward for the Wonders, but man, I tell you what a springboard win this is for this program.
Yeah, and with Butler, that's going to be a tough loss for them, and hopefully he can recover as quick as possible. But it's all about other guys stepping up, and Coach Newsom said it right there. Howley stepping up, making the big play, but there are numerous guys. When one man's down, you got to find other leaders to step up, and that's why they came away with this victory tonight.
All right, let's take a look back at some of the highlights in this battle for the bell this evening. It started very early. The first touchdown of the night, a pass to Lewis Harris from Cordarius Butler, got the Wonders on the board early.
Yeah, he showed composure in his first start, coming out here connecting for the easy touchdown, but then Hall striking back here with a huge play of his own.
P.J. Hall had a terrific game for Concord tonight. Certainly will be a big factor going forward as Hall, the screen pass, tied the game up, and then one of the big special teams plays. This is where Butler got hurt, and then Hall, of his Spratt, returns it for the touchdown.
You know, and this is where the Wonders were faltering, and it looked like the Spiders were going to regain control of the game, but as soon as that last touchdown happened, it seemed like something clicked for the Wonders, and they were just able to run the ball, and then they started to create turnovers of their own.
153 rushing yards for A.L. Brown tonight, minus 33 for Concord. The defense was in that Concord backfield all night. But here's Justin Nicholson, the game-changing play for the Spiders on special teams.
Yeah, well, it wasn't looking good for the Spiders, and then Nicholson came up with a play of his own to get his team back in, and just outstanding blocking by his teammates there to get him into the end zone and get closer, but it was just too much. Wonders tonight.
As Howie makes the pick and returns it all the way for the touchdown to win the game, seal the game for A.L. Brown. So the bell returns to Kannapolis for the second straight season. Jay, as we wrap things up, your final thoughts tonight.
Well, what a great way to start the season. Two teams playing their heart out, great competition, and I think something you're going to see is a lot of mistakes being made in this first week of football, but a lot of coaching opportunities, and I think you're going to see these two teams deep into the playoffs and have a great season, but I think this team and these games are really going to be fun to watch this first weekend.
Partner, enjoyed it. I'll see you next week.
See you, buddy. See you next Thursday.
For Jay Sonhalter, Chantel Jordan, our great statistician Carter Hicks, and the fine men and women behind the scenes, Chris Edwards from Bailey Stadium, where the bell stays in Kannapolis with a 31-19 win.